from a series of tornadoes Monday and Tuesday.
I've never seen nothing like it, and debris everywhere. I mean, it's like a mile down the road.
She's in Kankakee County, Illinois. Tens of thousands without power in more than a dozen states, with the crosshairs of heavy rain and severe thunderstorms now focused on the I-95 corridor, with flood warnings from West Virginia to Philly and New York. Several inches of rain expected, with possible damaging winds and hail.
Fox's Jeff Manasso, blizzard warnings in upper Michigan. In Taiwan, a search through collapsed buildings continues after an earthquake that killed at least 9 people. America is listening to Fox News.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-919-3200. That's 800-919-3200. 800-919-3200.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos. A better, easier way to get term life insurance. All online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Boy, oh boy, we almost have to check the calendar. It's not a very pretty afternoon. Very windy, wind gust to 45. It's chilly with wind-blown rain showers, 48 for the high. Tonight, showers early, otherwise mostly cloudy, 35. It stays windy. Thursday, opening day, clouds, some sunshine, still windy and chilly, 50 degrees on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Traffic law counselors is where we go when the police hassle us. Go to 45bucks.com.
This is Mike Carter, founder of 45bucks.com, or as you know it, Traffic Law Counselors. And right now, around tax time, we know folks are taking care of issues that they may have been putting off for a while. Maybe a driving while suspended or a warrant, things that you may have been worrying about for a little while. And we specialize in keeping folks' records clean. They come to us on a Monday, they can't drive, and by the end of that week on a Friday, we've got them back in the driver's seat driving legally. And that's very gratifying. And God forbid you're wrestling with something like a DWI. You can go to DWISTL.com. We got 10 paralegals and attorneys that are working on those cases nonstop, and depositions, trials, hearings, and we can put that to work for you as well. In fact, it's the enduring success of Traffic Law Counselors that has enabled us to be the preeminent DWI attorneys in St. Louis at DWISTL.com. So now you know, if you have a traffic matter, it's 45bucks.com. If you've got a DWI issue, it's DWISTL.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Earth Day is April 22nd. If your destination is a mile or less away, walk or bike instead of taking your car. It saves gas and money, is better for the environment, and you also get the benefits of exercise and being outdoors. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
From gas to groceries, Missourians are feeling it. Higher prices are making it tough to pay your bills. So why are some in Washington pushing a costly new mandate that'll make things harder for Missouri consumers? It'll mean the credit card rewards you enjoy will go away. That's right. Earning cash back, points, or miles, all could vanish. Washington bureaucrats and Senator Hawley think they know better. Consumers and Main Street will lose big. That's why we need Senator Hawley to step up and help stop this harmful new mandate. Please call Senator Hawley at 202-224-6154. Urge Senator Hawley to stand with consumers. Paid for by American Bankers Association, ABA.com. Sponsored by Missouri Bankers Association.
Download the free Upside app and earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code GIFT for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code GIFT.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Got
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Chicagoan, and I was a lifelong Democrat until I really started paying attention to the Democratic policies and how they were hurting the city of Chicago. And I had decided that I had just had enough, and the migrant crisis is what really
the migrant crisis.
The migrant crisis took me over the edge.
What is that looking like in your city right now? The migrant crisis.
It is looking like a mess. It is a mess, and that's exactly what it is. But you know, I started paying attention to not just the migrant crisis, but the Democratic policies, and how those policies have really hurt, not helped us. And I just decided I have to get off this ride and go for a winner. I want to support someone who cares about America, who cares about the people of America, who cares about the American dream, who cares about whether or not people in America succeed. And so, therefore, I am now a Trump supporter.
Well, that is a woman in Chicago named Kata Trust. And, you know, listening to the sultry sounds of Elvis in the background saying, "We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby," kind of feels like Chicago Democrats. But here they are with suspicious minds at a Trump rally. Who knew? I love seeing these people because there is a sense of hope and joy on the faces of people who have effectively walked away from the Democrat Party and the promises that they have made to their constituents, always during a campaign year, over and over and over again. It's just very much so a refreshing experience to see these people go, I have another option out there. Welcome into the Annie Fry Show. It's good to have you here. We've got a really exciting show planned for you. Kayleigh McEnany. I just adore talking to Kayleigh McEnany. She's going to be on with us in about 15 minutes. Brad, Kayleigh McEnany is on a constant rotation of ask for us, correct?
Yes, perpetual. It's like, okay, so after today, tomorrow I'm going to send out another request and see if we can't get her back on.
She's very highly sought after.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I appreciate about Kayleigh McEnany is watching her ascent and her success. When I was doing the Annie Fry Show on Saturdays on this station from 5 to 7 p.m., I would put in a request to, like, maybe there is a group of people who, if Brad calls, we can get somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The RNC is one of them.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yes.
That's what they're there for. They need to speak to people.
They will find somebody and put them on the show.
Yes. You can imagine that the people who are like, yeah, I'll do that on Saturday on a 6:15 p.m. segment. Those people are newer people to the RNC. Mm-hmm. When I was doing that in 2016, summer of 2016, June 18th, I think, someone have to check and make sure that that's a Saturday. I think it was June 18th in 2016 was the first Annie Fry show ever, but it was the Saturday version. The first time I went on the air full time here in middays was in April of 2018. But Saturdays, Kayleigh McEnany would be the person who the RNC would say, hey, will you do the show? And she would do it. And I had to practice how to say her last name. On the weekends, on Saturdays in 2016, I was having McEnany, which is an interesting spelling last name, and Hans von Spakovsky.
Love it.
I mean, of all of the prep that I did for a Saturday show, those two names were the majority of it. Just saying it over and over, and so it just flows right off my mouth. Watching Kayleigh McEnany move up in the RNC and then into the position of press secretary, and now such a very, very important voice, in my opinion, on Fox News. I'm always grateful when she comes back on our little show here in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask her about raising family in 2024 America. And she's got two little ones. As most of you know, if you've listened to the show for some time, I have my oldest is 14 and a half. I don't know. It's sad. I think he's past the half birthdays. That just hit me right now. To say he's 14 and a half. No one says I'm 14 and a half.
You should just give that information in months.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to have to get a calculator. 14 times 12 plus 6. I've started my family. I'm probably maybe 5 years older than she is. But she's raising a family in this country right now, and she understands it's not like just people talk about financial. There's certainly a financial contingent to it, but there's a cultural contingent to it. There used to be something really valuable about the makeup of the United States of America, where you could live on a street, you'd have a dozen houses on a street, and of those dozen houses, you could have completely different living situations among them, people from different walks of life, different faiths, different types of jobs, blue collar, white collar, whatever it was. What we have become a very segmented society and politically divided demographically to make sure that the first thing we see about each other and actually act upon are the things we see, not the things we learn, not the things that we discuss. And, you know, the conversation surrounding education in America today, as you know, I am personally a huge advocate of Lutheran schools. In this area, there are so many Lutheran schools that are affordable. If you are thinking, oh, it's private education, we can't afford it, I bet you can. Let me put it to you that way. There are also, I know, a lot of non-denominational Christian schools that are wonderful. I know of other private schools that aren't necessarily parochial as a foundation. Great options. Watching schools become a battleground over politics, it's a really interesting thing to observe because, like so many other things, the battle didn't begin until the conservatives show up to push back. For whatever reason, I lament that conservatives seem to be one step behind politically the persuasion of finding these different places. Let's give you another example. DAs all across the country. The attorneys that are charged with, by virtue of their job, prosecuting crime in certain locations. All of a sudden we find out these are very politically cheap races to win that can dramatically affect the culture. It takes too long for conservatives to show up and fight those fights because you have to lose a lot of battles before you start winning the battles. Now, I didn't pay as much attention to the local school districts, and I know that there was a lot of races, and I don't know a lot about this. I know Mark Cox has been heavily invested in it, and I appreciate and respect his efforts in this because the idea of who's on your school board, the idea of a political entity leading the charge for how our children are influenced and educated, conservatives have just started showing up to the battle. And if you're new to the game, if you are fresh, you might think you have an advantage. But if you're not battle tested, if you haven't been there, it's hard to understand and know how to win the fights and to do it in a way that is going to be beneficial to the entire community around you. And I don't say this, I can't express enough how much the elections that took place yesterday with school boards, I don't know the candidates. I did not invest my time in that. I knew that we were covering it on the station, and I focus a lot on Illinois over Missouri because I have counterparts at this radio station who do the very best job of covering what's going on in the state of Missouri. And I'm invested in, as soon as we get to these statewide races, and those are starting to heat up, you'll hear about that on the Annie Fry Show. From more of an objective standpoint, not as much of a, me pulling for one candidate over the other. I'm just going to call the shots as I see them. I can't vote for those people in Missouri. I live in Illinois. So when I make this comment, it's not specific about any individual who ran for one of those races and lost. And I'm saying the same thing. I'm going to make a comparison here to the state of Illinois. And Brad, you can help me with this too. there is a principle that exists, in my opinion, on the conservative side of the political aisle that doesn't always quantify electability to the extent that once you get to the general, that it's going to be able to see the thing through.
Yeah.
Totally. I that's why I say, like, I'm not talking about school boards here. I don't want people to correlate because I am completely ignorant to the majority of what was going on there. But in my observation, in primaries that are taking place across the country, but what I know, and I know well, conservatives and Republicans do not factor in ability to win enough.
They don't consider that there are people out there who might vote their way but aren't so far into Republican values as they are. When you look at Illinois, Illinois is a great example. The biggest problem conservatives always say we have with Illinois is Chicago. Chicago has a big problem. It's a big problem. Yeah, there's a large number of Democrats. But what they forget is the largest number of Republicans in the state of Illinois are in Chicago.
Right.
And they are Chicago Republicans. They're not downstate Republicans. Their situation is different than downstate Republicans' situation. And to think that every Republican, this is going to sound crazy, but to think that every Republican thinks exactly the same way, the nature of the Republican Party is it's a broad tent with a lot of different ideas underneath. We look at Congress, we don't get in lockstep with one another. That is a Democrat thing. You will do what you're told and you will do it this way, and everybody's like, okay. It's so much so to the fact that whenever a Democrat does not go along with it, it stands out, and that Democrat, usually Joe Manchin, is just showered with attacks.
Yeah.
When you look at the Republican Party, you have to think of a candidate that espouses most of your values. You may not be able to get all of your values, most of your values, but can still get elected because 80% of what you want is a heck of a lot better than 0% of what you don't, of what you do.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Sometimes I challenge myself. Let's see how far I can get into the show without mentioning Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Did I say their names yet? 12, 18? That's not bad. Not bad for a Wednesday. It really is the same thing for voting for Trump or standing against him. I mean, you are either voting for him or not for him if you're a Republican. You can hold your nose, that's a vote for him.
Yeah.
You can abstain, that's a vote against Trump. And anything that is against Trump helps Biden. Anything that is holding your nose and voting for him or not liking it or not wanting to admit to it to people or telling people and voting for it, that's supporting him. It's that simple. You can reconcile in your own head, like, this is that and that is that and this is how I'm going to feel good and lay my head at night. But we are presented with these choices. And when you're fresh to the battle, you may not succeed at the beginning. That doesn't mean that the fight wasn't worth it. That doesn't mean if you didn't win that you didn't gain ground. You only completely lose if you quit.
Right.
The question is, what is the principle of the matter? What was it that you were fighting for? Does that thing that you were fighting for before the results came in still matter? And the reason why my answer is always because it's worth fighting for. Annie, why do you still live in the state of Illinois? Why are you still there? Because the principle of what I'm fighting for has not changed. And if I get knocked down 100 times and it takes one more time to net a win, if the principle of the matter does not change, then I am required to be on that battlefield. I am required to show up and to live to fight another day. Because a cause that is worth fighting for the first time, if it's worthy, then it's worth fighting for the next and the next and the next and the next. Going back to the question, I'm going to ask Kayleigh McEnany here in just a few minutes. What kind of country are we constructing here, fortifying, growing, building, defending for the future generations that are to come? What problems are they going to inherit from us? And what are they going to look back to our generations and say, you really stuck your neck out for this, even when it was hard. You kept fighting. regardless of red or blue or wins or losses, the principle is what matters. The cause is what matters. That's what's in your heart. That's what nobody has to convince you of because you know it to be true in your heart. And even if you can't convince other people to see it your way, you still know what is true. Not your truth, but the truth. And that's the only thing that ends up mattering in the end. That's the only reason you have to show up to fight and fight and fight and fight. The wins and the losses, those are stats, but those aren't your cause. That's not your purpose. The purpose isn't to win. In fact, when you win, then you have a whole new battlefront to show up to and fight on every given day. So ask yourself today, what's the principle of the matter? What am I fighting for? I'm going to ask Kayleigh McEnany that when we come back. So stick around. We've got a big show for you today. Kayleigh McEnany in just a few minutes. Deroy Murdock, of course, at 1:05. It is Wednesday, after all. We're going to talk to him about RFK Jr.'s comments about Joe Biden maybe being a bigger threat to democracy than Trump and everybody at CNN falling off their chairs. They didn't really, but in my mind they did. And it felt good watching it because they just can't imagine somebody questioning the insurrection. Are you kidding me? On CNN? RFK Jr. did. And then we're going to speak with the Attorney General of the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, about that free speech hearing before the Supreme Court of the United States. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group is there to make sure that you, moving from your career where you're working your tail off right now in the midst of all of these economic situations that are kind of stacking up against you, that you are in a position to succeed and to do so without that worry that builds up. Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, and the Retirement Advisory Group want to make sure that that worry-free retirement is there for you. You've worked hard for it. You've saved for it. You sacrificed when other people weren't. Why not make sure that it's in the best of hands with the Retirement Advisory Group? Partner up with them for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review and discuss your personalized, structured income plan. They can show you the income that you're going to have in retirement and how long your money will last. Don't worry and don't wonder if you're going to have enough to retire comfortably. Remove fear by learning the truth of what is there, what you've done, what you've worked for, and what they can do for you. Schedule your appointment by calling them and making sure that you have everything lined up. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The poll also finds negative perceptions about the economy do remain a problem for the incumbent. 63% of swing state voters say the U.S. economy is in not so good or poor condition, while just 36% say it's in excellent or good condition.
Yeah, people understand. People know what's going on out there, and it's becoming more and more difficult to have confidence that raising a family in 2024 America is something that is comfortable. You've got the economic pressures that are out there, but you also have the cultural pressures that are out there. It feels like to me, and I've been a mom for 14 and a half years, that it's getting stronger and stronger, and the desire to persuade families, to kind of divide families, it's even more so with this administration. I want to get to our next guest here, Kayleigh McEnany, back with us on the Annie Fry Show, host of Outnumbered on Fox, former White House press secretary, and author of a wonderful book called Serenity in the Storm. Kayleigh, welcome back. It's good to have you.
Hey, Annie. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. I wanted to talk to you about something, just considering the fact that we're both moms. We both got young kids. Everything is political in our worlds most of the time, but we know that the bigger thing is our roles as moms. And I'm wondering about your experience raising kids right now. What are some of the biggest concerns in this 2024 year that you have about being a mom, raising your kids, and what the future looks like for them?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Your whole entire perspective changes when you become a mother. As you well know, you just mentioned you've been a mother for, 14 and a half years. And, I think preeminently the economy, of course, you're thinking about affordability. People are thinking about buying cars, buying homes, credit card debt, the interest rates. And you're thinking about that and affordability, but you're also, as a mom, thinking about education. And I realize so many of the kind of cultural issues that we were talking about surrounding Virginia and the election of Governor Youngkin and the say parents have in their child's education. I know a lot of those have subsided, at least in polling, but for a mother, those are really big concerns. And for suburban women in particular, I think it's always the economy. But for moms, just in the suburbs wanting their kids to have a good education, or in the city, really wherever you are as a mom, that is still a big concern and one I would not dismiss.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And you see how aggressive the state as a whole is in going after children. Now, I live in Illinois, I work in Missouri, but in Illinois they want to give the access to teachers. My husband's a public school teacher, and some of the things that these public school teachers are held to when it comes to communication with students, they're not allowed to discuss with parents. If the child is questioning things, they have to keep that from the parent. I'm wondering what you think that the actual end game is here in wedging government or publicly funded entities in between children and their parents.
I think it's total and complete control. I mean, there are states like New Jersey who have statewide parental secrecy policies where literally the law says that if a child does not wish to disclose their gender identity or the fact that they've changed their name to a parent, the school district, will conceal that from a parent. And in most cases, not every case, but most cases, a parent out of anyone in the world loves their child the most, more so than some third party or a school teacher, though we appreciate the job our teachers do. But the parent is being cut out of the equation. And it all comes back to government control, which is why I consistently have a conversation even with my young daughter. What have you learned at school? We use our dinner table, much like my parents did, as a place of learning about what you learned at school. And I think it's so important that parents have that. I think the motive is control.
Yeah, I do too. And in some cases, they're able to manifest that control and win in the very blue states and the blue cities potentially. I feel like I don't have TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but I would say, like an old person, I watch TikToks on Twitter and Facebook. That's where I find them. When the kind people of the world take them off TikTok and upload them where I might see them. But I look at the outcome of a lot of the, especially seems to be around gender, the influence of young people to push away from the structure that has consistently existed over generations of time. And it just doesn't seem like these people are espousing themselves as particularly happy. Like, I don't feel like the end game here for these individuals is joy. And I don't understand why we would be willing to wedge ourselves through a total control mindset when the outcome seems to be so much sadness and despair. All for what? I don't think I understand exactly what the outcome, the desired outcome is for these young people.
It is so toxic. I mean, and you just mentioned to me what is the second pair of issues. As a parent, you think about schools, but then your mind immediately goes to social media and the influence of others. And I just, as a mother with a young daughter and son, but particularly daughter, when you look at the influence of social media, not even just TikTok, TikTok's a whole other beast because you've got China involved in our data and their attempt to manipulate our young people. But the Wall Street Journal did incredible exposés about internal data that Facebook had about how it affects young girls, their body images, their tendency towards suicide, their depression levels that Facebook had, and yet was still pursuing a plan of a Facebook or an Instagram rather for young people. I mean, what a horrible, toxic thing that now you have to have parental consent to get on some of these platforms. But no, we'll just push a platform for young kids. It is so toxic, and the only counter to social media and to education and to schools, in my mind, is faith. And that's why it's so important when, I take my kids to church and we have conversations about family and Jesus and love. It is the one thing that I know can counter all of these outside forces trying to push in on the family unit.
I echo that sentiment completely. Kayleigh McEnany with us right now, co-host of Outnumbered on Fox, and her book, which has a lot to do with faith, Serenity in the Storm, among others. I encourage you to check that out. I want to shift a little bit politically just because I think that the politics, who we choose to elect has great influence on culture and how we are comfortable in raising our children. Although I'm always quick to remind people that we can change culture a lot faster than we can change politics. The politics seems to be downstream from that culture. But the Republican Party right now, if you look at the House of Representatives, such a slim majority, they don't seem like they can come together on anything. And I feel as though at least the Republican Party is missing an opportunity to make a point here about how much broader of a tent that the Republican Party is, the difference of opinions that exist across Republicans that come out of congressional districts all over the country. The Democrat Party, it's like, here's what you will sign your life away to believing. And they have somebody who overlords themselves over the party. You either agree with it or you're out. I'm wondering how that broad tent, if you feel as though the Republican Party is the broad tent party, and how that can translate into a better victory for Republicans in November.
I do. I mean, I absolutely believe we're the broad tent party. And, we just went through on Fox some of the polling in the Wall Street Journal that shows, Black Americans, Latino Americans, young Americans in the polling shifting towards the Republicans, towards former President Trump. We are the bigger tent, and I think increasingly more people are recognizing that. But when you speak about the House majority, my mind goes to the opportunity you have and when you have the majority to illustrate an agenda that contrasts with the one in the White House. And, there has been a little bit of a missed opportunity there because we only have a one-member majority now. It oscillates between 1 and 4. And, the leader of the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, I've had the pleasure of interviewing him. He's an incredible man, a great leader. But what you can do with one-seat majorities is very small, especially when there's one seat, one person can motion to vacate the House speakership. And it seems like some of these kind of bureaucratic gamesmanship tactics have overtaken what could be a really positive agenda being passed, sending bills to the Senate, and illustrating Democrats aren't willing to get on board with very simple things like parents having a role in their child's education, and then having our nominee amplify that. Which I know he would willingly do. But in order to amplify the contrasting agenda, you got to get the bills to the Senate, and that has to go through the House.
What's the hope then for you, Kayleigh? Like, what would you like to see the Republicans in the House be able to do with this time between now and the election? I think that our understanding of what a win looks like out of this very slim House majority, it probably needs to be altered than what, of course, you would expect out of a 20, 30, 40 seat majority.
Yeah, I think so. Look, one thing that I think is missing is I would love to see a unified announcement of the House that they are passing a pro-mother, pro-father agenda and about supporting women. I've always been a fan of Marco Rubio, who put forward the day after the Dobbs decision passed overturning Roe v. Wade, the day or two after, he put out an entire agenda of forcing men to pay women child support from the moment of conception, which you can do via the Social Security Act. He put forward 10 policy proposals to help women who are vulnerable, who are pregnant and wanting to keep their child but don't feel like they have the financial support in order to do so. I'd love to see that agenda passed, amplified by President Trump, and it would be such a positive pro-family message to contrast with what inevitably we'll hear about the pro-abortion agenda coming from the left.
No, I think that's a fantastic idea. Marco Rubio is one of those who seems to always have actual new, fresh ideas that he's willing to float out there and discuss with people. I think it's a great point. Kayleigh McEnany, thank you for being with us today. We always love having you back here on the show.
Thanks, Annie. Look forward to joining you again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. From one mom to another. Exciting to have Kayleigh McEnany on the show. She has a good book out, Serenity in the Storm, and I read her book before that, too, as well, and she just has a really good perspective. And she also has a lot to say about her time serving Donald Trump. Marco Rubio, I'm glad she brought that up, because Marco Rubio is actually thinking things and having, putting forward policies. This is what I get frustrated with a lot of Republicans that are in office, that, if for instance, let's do the converse, because it's easy to describe that. If everything that you do on the left as a Democrat is just like, what is Donald Trump doing? Okay, well, we work to stop that, or we work to do the opposite thing. That's a consolidating focus, pinpoint laser focus to the people on the left. Republicans are kind of just wandering about, it feels like. That there's an understanding on the whole of who Republicans are and what Republicans stand for, but there is no laser pinpoint focus in my mind.
No, it feels like it's more about making big headlines and saying the right things and whatnot. Rather, like if you believe what you're going to go out in front of the media, run out in front of the media for, or make your speech on the floor about, if you really believe about whatever that cause is, then you should have a plan to execute that cause, to make that happen, to get some sort of law passed that affects change. And it just seems like they're like, we get there, and then we just don't know what to do after we get there.
Yeah. I do believe, wholeheartedly believe that the Republican Party has to serve a broader set of opinions than the Democrat Party does in order to unify. The Democrat Party is much better at fighting behind closed doors than the Republicans are. Republicans seem to be, the different wings of the party seem to be willing to let that blow over into the public eye. And it does become problematic, but at the same time, there are broad opinions of, for instance, abortion in the Republican Party. And I, for one, would not campaign at all on making abortion illegal, because I want to make abortion unthinkable. And I do believe that culture precedes politics. And the idea that, this is what a lot of people on the left will say about abortion, that you can make abortion illegal, they're still going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't convince me that abortion is somehow or another morally permissible.
Right.
But there are a lot of things that I believe are incredibly immoral that are also not illegal.
Right.
I do believe that abortion is the murder of a life.
Yes.
I also understand, realistically speaking, that we are going to lose bigger fighting on the political stage than if we started working our asses off to support adoption and things just like Marco Rubio suggested. If women get pregnant, if a woman is out there and she gets pregnant, she is supported by the man who got her pregnant. And there are mechanisms to put that in place, that can happen through the government subsidy that man is going to have. Do it yesterday. Abortion is the most patriarchal process that we have put out into the common accepted method of birth control. It is so unbelievable how much the presence of abortion allows men more sexual freedom, where it's being sold to women as, you can have the same sexual freedom as men can if you don't have to bear children, because men can sleep with whomever they want to. They don't have to bear children. How do we equalize this? We can't make men have to have the babies. We can't make men have to have the babies. I say that slower. Mm-hmm. Next time I'll clap while I do it, just so that everybody feels comfortable understanding what I'm saying. But we can't make men have the babies. So how do we make women not have to have the babies? There's only one way to do that. Eliminate the baby. But everybody understands exactly what that is. Everybody knows what that is. And if they truly don't have a scientific biological understanding of where the baby goes, you have a level of willful ignorance that I can't understand. I cannot comprehend it. It is unfair, the imbalance that the woman has to literally bear in the circumstance of a pregnancy. But suggesting that the baby would be ripped from the womb of the woman does not make it fair.
No.
That doubles the tragedy and the crisis for the woman. And a man can toss $300 her way and make it go away. It doesn't go away. It will live in that woman's soul for the rest of her life. What that woman needs to understand is that there is an alternative. There needs to be an incredible structure and apparatus in this country for adoption. Where are the Republicans on this? Why is there not an incredible system set up to save the lives of these babies, to care for the lives, the post-birth lives of these babies and the women who do have to go through the process of bearing children? Where is the apparatus that's set up to support them when they choose life? in a world where it's legal to choose death? Where is that system? Why are the Republicans not showing up to this? And why are we not heaping consequence and responsibility on the men who get these women pregnant? And I mean heaping. Here's the deal, folks. And this is the super simple truth of it. Don't have sex with people you don't want to have babies with. It's that simple. Period. That's all there really is to it. I want to take a quick break here. Wiggins America, when we come back. Let us know what you think about that. Let us know what you think about our conversation with Kayleigh McEnany on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Also, we got a poll up here. Are you prepared for disaster? Yes or no? We can talk a little bit about the eclipse. We talked a little eclipse theories earlier, didn't we? Didn't we talk about some of the people? You mentioned, Brad, what those were. So we'll see. We'll dig a little bit back into that. Earthquakes in Japan, tornadoes across the country. Are you prepared for disaster? Oh, yeah, also maybe World War III, but that's just like a footnote at this point. I hope. Let us know, yes or no. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. Phone call or a text message away. Reach out to Stewie at 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Stewie is going to be there to help you through the process of acquiring a mortgage or a refinance. If you have recently bought a home, let's say in the last year and a half, and rates were sky high. They've come down a little bit since then. It makes sense to go through a refinance with the bagel loan, and probably only with the bagel loan, because you don't pay the closing costs that make it not worth your time should you go through a refinance somewhere else. If you've got thousands of dollars of closing costs, then you're probably not saving so much when you're ticking your interest rate down, maybe a percentage or whatever it might be. Reach out to Stewie and find out if it makes sense for you. If you're going to get a mortgage, if you're going to get a new house and you want to be the most competitive buyer out there and bidder when the bidding wars are getting hot, Stewie is there to make sure that you are. Get rid of all of the closing costs, and then you take those thousands of dollars and apply them wherever you deem appropriate. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. I'm a 2-time Bagel Loan customer myself. You can Google the Bagel Loan to find out more information. NMLS number 226715.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
Visit Mike Carter
MikeCarter.com to see Mike's interviews with all of Missouri's elected leaders.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains and the richest farmland around, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
Big Annie Fry show today. Kayleigh McEnany was just on the show, and then Deroy Murdock and Attorney General of Missouri Andrew Bailey in the next hour. Wiggins America coming up next, so a good day to podcast. Also, today's poll, are you prepared for disaster? Yes or no? Let us know, not just yes or no, but why you are prepared or unprepared for disaster. That is the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. It is 12:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Don't miss the Mark Cox Morning Show Spring Bourbon Fling at Clayton Winehouse. Kim St. Ange here. Join Mark and me on Thursday, April 18th. We'll try Green River, Redwood Empire, plus Big O Ginger Liqueur, Round Pond Wines, and more. Tickets are on sale now at 971talk.com/events.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
This is what a woman wants. Any man of mine better be proud of me. Even when I'm ugly, he still better love me. And I can be late for a date, that's fine, but he better be on time. Any man of mine will say it fits just right when last year's dress is just a little too tight. And anything I do or say better be okay when I have a bad hair day. And if I change my mind a million times, I wanna hear him say, yeah, 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 I like it that way.
Wiggins!
I think that's the song that made me a country fan in like 1994.
Okay.
Anyway, I guess.
No, I'm sitting here thinking. I'm thinking about country in 1994.
You know that you can't just stand there and think on the radio.
Well,
right? You got to make something up.
What says you?
What's funny
No,
about
I
that?
do say.
What's funny about that song is I was just listening to the lyrics, and I really haven't ever listened to it since I'd been married. And I'm listening to lyrics, and I'm like, oh, all that makes way more sense now.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. When I said, I realized when I said
I
that.
do all those things.
When you were first listening to it, you were just a boy.
I
now
was like
you are a man.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have been 13.
You're like,
whatever.
God, that sounds like a lot of freaking work.
Like, ugh, gosh.
Girls.
I don't ever want to be a soccer mom. Cooties.
Soccer mom.
Yeah, that's the stuff I was thinking about when I was 12 and 13.
You were thinking about soccer moms?
I was like, ugh.
He was a Stacy's mom fan.
I don't even know what that is. What's that? Is that a song?
It's just you. Go on. This is not what we're talking
Okay.
about.
So I'm trying
What a Martian. Stacy's mom? Is that a song?
What's Stacy's mom?
Oh
Please,
my
just
gosh.
explain
No,
so I
we
can
don't
move
have
on.
time. You made a game. You put work into this.
I did. I
We're
put a
wasting
lot of work
time.
into this because it's something I've been thinking about doing for a long time, and I saw some great headlines, and I thought that's the perfect one. So the segment is called "Which One's Left."
Okay.
Which one's left? Which one's left?
That's right. I even have an intro.
Even our computers are standing there.
Yeah,
thinking
they're
about
just
things.
looking at us. So what I have here is one story, but two different headlines from two different outlets. You got to tell me which one is the
Feel like
left-leaning
we should
outlet.
be doing this segment late at night.
Because it's kind of hot now. Yeah, that intro music's sweet, man. It's groovy. So I did list a bunch of the... I listed a bunch of the outlets that I used up here.
Okay.
And you can tell me which ones are which. I may have listed one twice accidentally. All right, here's the story.
It's like butter.
California's $20 fast food minimum wage balloons menu prices, with some chains increasing costs by nearly $2. That's the first one. The second one, outrage over California's new fast food minimum wage is hard to
So
stomach.
wait a second. These are all about the same story?
Same story, two different headlines,
Say
two
the
different
sec-
takes on the story.
Say the second one.
Outrage over California's new fast food minimum wage is hard to stomach.
Brad.
I'm
I'm gonna guess New York Post on one of them, just because it's written up there twice.
No, I'm gonna go MSNBC.
Okay.
Okay, for the second one, because I read
For
two
the
there.
hard to stomach.
Hard
one.
to stomach was MSNBC, and you're saying New York Post for the first one, Annie.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are exactly right.
Boom.
Nice job.
This is a perfect example of why I got a good grade in my ACT. I'm just good at taking tests.
Yeah, I mean, great job. It says, New York Post says, you'll be dropping a lot of dollar on that Whopper. Menu prices at fast food
Like a
chains.
rap song.
Yeah. Across California have increased as the new law went into effect, requiring them to pay $20 an hour minimum wage. They're talking about how the prices have already went up. The other article from MSNBC says, what's crazy is that here in the United States, we are captives to a turbo-capitalist narrative that questions even the most minuscule gains for workers while giving egregious corporate greedflation a pass.
Man, that line could have been Salon too.
I mean, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. So there you go. There's the first one. You guys aced that first test. Good job. Second story.
Turn the groove back up.
Oh, well, I kind of played out. I guess I should have played it longer. I thought I was just going to sort of let it go.
You know that song?
Which one?
Let It Go.
Let It Go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware of that song.
I hate it.
Thank you. Next story. Wisconsin voters will approve election law changes championed by Republicans. The other headline, Wisconsin voters pass ballot measure barring private funds for election administration.
The Hill and then Fox News. Like once we use these, is it off the board?
Yeah, it's off. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go Hill and Fox News as well.
You guys are very, very close. I managed to somehow put New York Post up there twice. One of them should have been CNN. That is my fault. That means you guys...
The answer isn't even on.
You guys aced that one, too.
Brian!
The Hill
Why
is
didn't
correct.
you change it?
Because I'm standing here. I have to walk away, and you know how dead air sounds. The Hill was Wisconsin voters passed...
Wait, we're taking a test.
Yeah.
You're making us
Here.
take a test.
Worst
Yeah.
teacher ever.
You see how this happens? You just had us... You just listed the
His
answers
headphones don't reach.
on the board, but you kept one off, and then you bounced us on it when we didn't get it right.
I didn't. I gave you guys credit.
Why
and
didn't you tell us one of the... You said at the beginning of this, I wrote one up there twice.
Yeah, I did.
That would have been an opportune time
To change
say
it.
one of those New York Posts should have been CNN.
Yeah, you guys talk about Shania Twain for a second. Let me go change the board. That would have been the good move. But you're right. You are right again. Wisconsin voters passed ballot measure barring private funds for election administration.
Championed by Republicans is CNN.
Championed by Republicans is
And the
CNN.
other one that actually says what Wisconsin did was Fox News.
No, that was the Hill. You guys guessed it right. Yeah,
okay.
the Hill. A ballot measure in Wisconsin that bars the use of private funds administering elections was projected to pass on Tuesday, according to Decision Desk HQ. The ballot measure received 54% support, and with 98% of the vote reported, the measure asked Wisconsinites if the state constitution should be amended to provide that private donations and grants may not be applied for, accepted, expended, or used in connection with the conduct of any primary election or referendum. So that's the news item. Last one. You only got two left, so I think you'll get this. Shakira shreds...
Are they answers to these
they
questions
are,
on
They
the
are
board?
there. Shakira shreds Barbie movie, saying it was emasculating for her sons. Absolutely hated it. That's the first one. Second one, the problem with Shakira's Barbie comments.
Salon to Fox News 1.
Yeah.
That is correct. Are you guys aware of this one? I mean,
Yeah.
this is pretty interesting stuff. She was saying that Barbie is emasculating. She absolutely hated it. I'm raising 2 boys, she said. I want them to feel powerful while respecting women. I like pop culture when it attempts to empower women without robbing men of their possibility to be men, to also protect and provide.
I know. I kind of disagree with her.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
About the movie itself being that way?
I don't think that the movie was intentionally made for boys, for young boys. I don't think it was the intended audience, but I actually thought that Barbie made a statement that men aren't useless.
Interesting.
Which I think is maybe missed on most people discussing it. We can maybe talk about it later. Deroy Murdock, Andrew Bailey, when we come back.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. They're online at igotfloored.com. Have you been looking for flooring? I want to encourage you to give Michael's Flooring Outlet the opportunity to earn your business like a lot of other Annie Fry Show listeners and 97.1 listeners have. Because Michael's Flooring Outlet gets it. They are St. Louisans. They are a St. Louis family. They have for decades been operating a locally owned flooring store. Now, they carry the brands that you rely on, the quality that you want to invest in, but they pair it with the prices that you can afford. They want to make sure that you get quality and that you don't have to sacrifice value for quality or quality for value. They carry the Smart Strand Mohawk Silk line. It gives you a superior performance when you're installing carpet in your home. I'm a big fan of carpet in my home. I think it makes it feel cozier in the house. You want to make sure that that carpet is going to stand the test of time and you're going to be able to live life on it without all the gasps every time something happens. Life happens on that flooring. If you're interested in making a flooring purchase, you can check them online at igotfloored.com.
Traffic law counselors is where we go when the police hassle us. Go to 45bucks.com.
This is Mike Carter, founder of 45bucks.com, or as you know it, traffic law counselors. And right now around tax time, we know folks are taking care of issues that they may have been putting off for a while. Maybe a driving while suspended or a warrant, things that you may have been worrying about for a little while. And we specialize in keeping folks' records clean. They come to us on a Monday, they can't drive, and by the end of that week on a Friday, we've got them back in the driver's seat driving legally. And that's very gratifying. And God forbid you're wrestling with something like a DWI. You can go to DWISTL.com. We got 10 paralegals and attorneys that are working on those cases nonstop, and depositions, trials, hearings, and we can put that to work for you as well. In fact, it's the enduring success of traffic law counselors that has enabled us to be the preeminent DWI attorneys in St. Louis at DWISTL.com. So now you know, if you have a traffic matter, it's 45bucks.com. If you've got a DWI issue, it's DWISTL.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
What President Biden wants from Israel's investigation. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre answering a question a short time ago about the president's take on Israel's probe into its deadly airstrike on an aid convoy in Gaza.
He wants to see an investigation that's swift, an investigation that's comprehensive, that brings accountability, and he wants to make sure that it is made public.
The president has said Israel is not doing enough to protect civilians and aid workers. A State Department spokesman says the attack that killed World Central Kitchen workers will not affect U.S. efforts to stand up a floating pier off Gaza's shore to deliver aid. A Texas immigration law that remained blocked for now gets more arguments in a federal appeals court.
Texas law SB 4 makes crossing the border illegally a misdemeanor, and local law enforcement can make an arrest. A local judge could then order police to take the migrant to a port of entry for deportation. But upon further questioning before the Fifth Circuit, Texas Solicitor General Aaron Nielsen indicated this law may have some more limitations.
Texas would take the person to the port of entry. Presumably the United States would then put them into the United States system. They would process them, and then they would give them a hearing date of some sort. Texas, under the position of the Attorney General, would not be able to prosecute that person again.
One of the judges asked the migrant's attorney if there's anything a state can do to regulate immigration entry and removal. The attorney said they cannot exercise independent regulatory authority.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The state has argued the federal government is failing to secure the border and that Texas has a right to defend itself. Disney shareholders have just blocked an effort to shake up the company, voting against an investor and a former Disney executive who wanted seats on the company's board and said in a preliminary proxy filing they wanted a succession of longtime CEO Robert Iger. Instead, shareholders are rallying around him. America is listening to Fox News.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-919-3200. That's 800-919-3200. 800-919-3200. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Boy, oh boy, we almost have to check the calendar. It's not a very pretty afternoon. Very windy, wind gust to 45. It's chilly with wind-blown rain showers, 48 for the high. Tonight, showers early, otherwise mostly cloudy, 35. It stays windy. Thursday, opening day, clouds, some sunshine, still windy and chilly. 50 degrees on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Okay, you have seen a lot of weather here in the St. Louis area in the last, 24, 48 hours. A lot of wind, cold temperatures, warm temperatures. You probably lifted your windows up over the weekend. Is it time to replace them? If it is, you need Window World. You need to give them a call, talk to them, and find out why they are simply the best for less. Window World is a phone call away, 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. If you've been thinking about windows, just call them, get a quote. Just figure out how much the investment is going to cost, and also the efficiency of your home, how much that's going to improve. You know that when you get the efficiency fixed on those windows in your home, that those energy bills are going to go down while you're trying to keep the cool in the summer and the hot in the winter. Window World can help you with that. They have a lifetime warranty that comes along with these windows so that you know that you're going to invest in something that's going to last a lifetime. Covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. They use double-strength glass, giving it the strength that is not commonly used in replacement windows. They don't sacrifice on that at Window World. 314-993-1800. Call 314-993-1800. Simply the best for less windows at Window World. Go to windowworld.com.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Ready to turn your home into a digital racetrack? Buckle up for i3 Broadband's advanced whole home Wi-Fi. Picture this, lightning-fast internet in every nook and cranny. No dead zones, no lag, just pure connectivity. Whether you're binge-watching in the living room or video calling from the basement. All with no contracts, no hidden fees, just insane speeds. Plus our no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. Hit us up at 877-976-0711 or zoom over to i3broadband.com/STL. We're local, reliable, and turbocharging your internet life.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
It's what's happening
The Pope appealed once again
right now
for an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip.
Salvage crews in Baltimore lifting the first pieces of wreckage from the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Keeping you informed. St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Trump is banned from talking about the judge's family. Why? Because the judge's family was paid by the Biden campaign. The judge's family is currently being paid by Adam Schiff, over $10 million. Adam Schiff, this is the guy who conspired with Michael Cohen, the star witness in this case. Trump isn't allowed to say that the judge's daughter is a Democrat consultant whose clients, the Biden campaign, Adam Schiff, are fundraising off Trump's indictment.
Jesse Waters covering that gag order that was placed on Donald Trump. Why is it that the people who seem to be doing the bidding of Joe Biden and then the Biden administration themselves, why are they so successful at keeping people from talking? What is so detrimental to the other side being able to share what they think, when they think it, and how they think it? There's a lot of thought control and speech control that comes out of this administration. And when you're trying to tell someone that they're not allowed to talk and that they can't speak, I am twice as interested in what those people have to say. Let's get to our next guest. Deroy Murdock joins us once again, nationally syndicated columnist and a Fox News contributor. Deroy, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
Great to be with you again, Annie.
I appreciate your time, and I noticed that you wrote an article, it's for Newsmax, and you were talking about that RFK Jr. clip that is definitely circling the rounds from CNN, when I don't know why CNN asked him this question unless they're just so used to the reflexive answer of Donald Trump, insurrectionist, threat to democracy. RFK Jr. came back and said to them, you know what, I could make the case that Biden is worse. Didn't seem like they were prepared for that answer.
No, not at all. He was on with Aaron Burnett on Monday night, and I think, as you say, they probably expect him to say, oh, yes, Donald J. Trump, he's an insurrectionist, and Hitler, blah, 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 the usual garbage. And, boy, he gave an answer that could have come out of your mouth or mine. He said, among other things, no president in this country, he said, the reason that is that President Biden is the first candidate in history, the first president in history that has used the federal agencies to censor political speech, to censor his opponent. I can say that because I just won a case in the Federal Court of Appeals, and he said 37 hours after Biden took the oath of office, he started censoring RFK Jr.'s comments about the COVID vaccine and masks and whatnot. And he said, continuing with the comment that RFK made, he said the greatest threat to democracy is not somebody who questions election returns, but a president of the United States who uses the power of his office to force the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to open a portal and give access to that portal to the FBI, to the CIA, to the IRS, to the NIH to censor his political critics. Truly astonishing. And, look, if you disagree with speech by a political opponent or anybody, and you're the White House, you're a politician, get up and give a speech, issue a press release, whatever, and say, here's why RFK Jr. is wrong, here's what he didn't say, here's what he doesn't know. That's perfectly appropriate, and you can discredit the person if you wish. But to sick the FBI on the Silicon Valley social media giants and say, disconnect this guy, deplatform him, sink that story. That's like something you see out of East Germany or Cuba. That's no place in the United States of America. And that's Donald J. Trump had 4 years to do that kind of thing, and he didn't. Joe Biden is doing that sort of thing today.
We're speaking with Deroy Murdock, and we're grateful to have him on the show with us to bring his take to the everyday occurrences that are going on. It seems as though we have a new story that fits in the same broader category every single week, maybe even every single day, where Joe Biden is trying to restrict what his opponents, specifically RFK Jr. I mean, just the simple fact that he won't provide the security necessary for RFK Jr. is kind of mind-blowing. I think I heard or read that that's the first presidential candidate that has been withheld security, maybe ever. What is it that this administration is so afraid of, just letting the situation play out in a natural way? They're so manipulative on the levers and the pulleys to make sure that things are just the way that they want them to be.
I suppose this tells us they don't have a positive message. They have nothing to say. They don't have a record to stand on. They don't have a vision beyond telling people you got to go buy this kind of a car and you can't use a gas stove and that sort of thing. So rather than, as I've been saying, if they disagree with Donald J. Trump, disagree with RFK Jr., run against them and say, here's why our ideas are better, here's why your ideas are bad, please vote for us. And they can't do that. So they're busy trying to get people off of ballots, blocking access to voters to be able to support whomever they wish, engaging in censorship, like we said. And like you just pointed out, RFK Jr. asked for Secret Service protection, and Joe Biden says no. Now, if RFK Jr. running on the I like to fish party or the skateboarders and snowboarders party, and he had 200 people supporting him, that's one thing. But when he's getting double-digit support in certain states, and I think it's fair to say that family has had some experience in political violence,
right,
including his father being assassinated, his uncle being assassinated. So given that alone, if he needs Secret Service protection, there ought to be Secret Service agents around him within 24 hours. And the response from Joe Biden hasn't been sure they're coming over right away. It has been no, you don't get Secret Service protection, so good luck. And God forbid anything happens to RFK Jr., it's going to be the full responsibility of Joe Biden for not having given him the protection he requested. Now, if he didn't request it and something happened, that's one thing. But this guy asked for protection, so he doesn't get killed, literally murdered.
Right.
And the response from the nice guy, Joe Biden, he's such a nice guy, we love him, he's so lovable, is no, good luck, hope you don't get hurt. Good luck with that. It's sick and disgusting, and let's just hope that there's nobody out there who's got RFK Jr. in the crosshairs. It could be very ugly, and the lack of Secret Service protection because of Joe Biden will be a huge, huge, huge mark against him if anything goes wrong against RFK Jr.
Yes, God willing, he remains safe on the campaign trail. Deroy Murdock with us right now. I want to ask you about, in partnership with the question of, is RFK Jr. running to win the presidency? Is that actually, I look and don't really see a pathway to victory for him. I don't really see how he's going to become the president of the United States. And the Democrat Party is very skeptical about why he's in the race to begin with. Donald Trump is a huge RFK Jr. fan on his Truth Social posts. He's happy that he's running, not necessarily in favor of his policies, but sees the political advantage that he's going to enjoy from it. Is Joe Biden's candidacy so unsavory with his own party that RFK Jr. could potentially have some sort of path to victory here?
Well, I don't see him winning the White House outright. We may get to a situation where Trump and Biden have 260 electoral votes each or something like that, and RFK Jr. manages to win one state, let's say, or maybe he wins a couple of states like Nebraska and I think Maine. It's not winner take all. You get a certain number of you can win congressional districts and get one electoral vote that way. So you might have a situation where you have a deadlock and nobody wins. Nobody hits 270. You've got them locked at 10 votes, 260, 265. I'm not know if that adds up correctly, but just I can't do the math that quickly. But you get the point.
Sure.
And you may he may not win, but he may end up getting the whole thing thrown into the House of Representatives. So who knows? We may have something even more exciting than the Bush v. Gore hanging Chad drama in Florida in 2000. I'm not sure that'd be good for the country, but it certainly would be interesting.
Yeah, I want a blowout. I need a
Yeah,
November,
I do too.
Without question, Mondale blowout, so that we all go on November 5th that evening. We're like, oh wow, that's it, that's over. Wash your hands of it, move on, get the honeymoon started. And I don't know if that's possible, but in my mind, I'm looking around the country. I'm looking at the police officers in New York and the crime and the migrant crisis that's plaguing the whole country. And I'm going, why wouldn't there be a blowout? Why shouldn't there be one?
Well, I think you're right. There should be. I mean, and the good news is that the latest polls have Trump up by looks like 8 points in North Carolina. He is up by 5 points in Arizona, 4 in Nevada, 3 in Georgia, 3 in Pennsylvania, 2 in Michigan. He's tied in Wisconsin. So if the election were held today, there would be an electoral landslide for Donald J. Trump. And I agree with you. I want to see Monica Crowley has a wonderful expression, which is an extinction level event for the Democrat Party, not 51-49, but 54-46, 55-45. So we can say to these people, look, we don't want your mandates. We don't want this ripped open border. Little boys are allowed to keep their penises, and all of your DEI, critical race theory. We reject all of that stuff. Gone, goodbye, sayonara, and just give an incredible voter repudiation against Donald J. Trump, the Democrats, and this whole host of cultural Marxist, socialist ideas that have been ideas and policies and laws that these people have advanced, and push these people way back on their heels, and either wipe out the Democrat Party once and for all, or put them in a situation where they finally understand, okay, they're not buying this stuff. We got to go back to something, something approaching normal rather than something approaching the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. And so I want to blow out too. I don't want Trump to squeak in. I want Trump to trounce these people so that they can learn once and for all. No, we don't want the garbage you're peddling. Stop it already.
Yeah, amen to that. What do you want to see the Republicans do? Probably post convention, Donald Trump accepts the nomination, and how do we turn the afterburners on once the convention is over to make sure that we leave 0 stones unturned in making sure that we get that blowout win in November?
Well, a couple of things. I want to see Donald J. Trump campaign every day if he can. Now, he may be trapped in court, which is, of course, part of the lawfare strategy these awful people have imposed. But every day he can, and not just, rallies in comfortable areas. I want to see him campaigning in black neighborhoods, campaigning in Hispanic neighborhoods. He ought to be focused on suburban women. And one way, I think, to win that vote is to focus on this whole squatter problem. If I were Trump, I wouldn't wait till after the convention right now. I'd convene the GOP governors from around the state and say, look, I want you all to implement laws like the one they did in Florida, which says if you're squatting in somebody's house, you call the cops kick them out. That's called trespassing. I heard a great comment today. If you park your car somewhere with the windows rolled down, can somebody just open your car driveway and say, okay, look, I just got a car? I don't think so.
In Canada.
But this is the equivalent thing with a house, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of suburban women will say, I like my suburban home. I don't want it squatted in and taken over. So I like this. This is something I think would play very well there. He ought to be pushing that issue. And I would go to places that normally have not supported Republicans and campaign there. And the other important thing is for everybody listening to us on this program, go out there, knock on doors, register voters, make phone calls, write checks if you can. It has to be absolutely all hands on deck. It's an extremely important election, and God forbid we don't win and people think, well, gee, if I'd only volunteered, or I should have made a donation, or I should have made some phone calls. I mean, people ought to, all the grassroots should be out there like a beautiful day in the spring after a rainstorm, with all the grassroots blossoming and growing like crazy, like a big, beautiful lawn.
It would be morning in America.
It would be morning in America. Yes, to coin a phrase. Exactly.
Deroy,
there's something for each of us to do. We all have to do it.
Last question, real quick, and I'm too close. I'm too close to the center of this issue. So I don't think that you qualify as a suburban mom, a suburban woman. So I mean that's exactly, it is the description.
I'm an urban non-mom, is what I am.
Yeah, exactly, or whatever the PC name is for it. What is it? What is it about that? Who is that person? Describe that person to me when it's discussed in a political sense. What is the suburban woman? Who is that lady?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think there are a lot of women across the country who are living in the suburbs. Many of them are professionals who've got jobs. They're often raising their families, raising their kids, and they're not particularly happy when you've got problems at school where kids aren't learning. Instead of learning simple things like math and English and history and science, their kids are being told if they're white, you're racist and you're oppressors and bigots. If they're black or Hispanic, you're victims, you're never going to make it. They probably don't appreciate that. And there's simple things that would make their lives easier, like being able to drive around town, take their kids to baseball practice or to school or to ballet, whatever it is, and be able to afford gasoline at a decent price. When they go home and make dinner, I think they want to be able to cook on a gas stove if they want, or an electric stove if they want, and not be told by the White House, oh, you got to make dinner on this kind of stove, not the other. If it's hot, they want to turn on their ceiling fans. They want to be able to do that without being told by the White House, no, we're going to take away your ceiling fans. And I think at the state and local level, they like to live in societies where their property rights are respected. You don't have illegal aliens tramping through their property or breaking it and taking over their homes, and they can earn their incomes and not have it all swiped away in taxes and wasteful spending. So I think those are some of the challenges they see, and I think the GOP has very good answers on all those issues now to be out there making that argument from today all the way through November 5 and beyond.
I just don't see how that is incongruent with Trump. Unless that people, the thing that I'm wondering about is nobody's going to say this out loud. I might. Are suburban women so sensitive that they don't like the mean guy? Because everything you just listed there, like a mama bear, I want to be on the front line to preserve for my children. And Donald Trump is the only candidate in the race that is there with me on the front line to do that.
Well, I think it's important for Trump to stay focused. I think the more he gives serious policy speeches, the better. I remember when he finished up with the convention in 2016, his campaign got taken over by Kellyanne Conway, Steve Bannon, and Dave Bossie, and instantly he sort of seemed to put the Twitter machine away. His speeches were not just kind of rambling free association. Some of them were, but he was very good at giving very serious policy speeches, which were well written and concrete and intelligent. And he read them, with teleprompters and all that. And I did a piece about this saying, Donald J. Trump is running on serious free market ideas. And I sat down and read maybe 5 or 6 of his speeches. They were wonderfully put together, assembled. I read Heritage Foundation or Cato Institute research briefs, basically. And he ought to do that. The more serious and presidential and focused he is, the better. He ought to remind people, ask the question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? The answer is no. And remind people, he was president. This isn't a guy running for the first time. And remind him of what America was like until COVID came in and ruined everything. And we had a booming economy. We had low unemployment, lowest black and Hispanic unemployment ever. The border was not totally closed, but way more under control than it is now. The crime situation is nothing like it is at the moment. I think we're seeing poverty falling. I think we're seeing educational scores going up. Peace through strength, 4 Middle East peace deals, et cetera. So he had to talk about that and just remind people of how good life was before COVID and certainly before the nice guy, Joe Biden from Scranton, Pennsylvania, showed up and ruined our lives.
Oh, what a good sell he has done on that nice Uncle Joe, nice guy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Deroy.
Nice
We love having you on.
All right, Annie, great to be with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor Deroy Murdock. Check out his piece on Newsmax about that RFK Jr. question from CNN. I didn't see that coming. Let's take a quick break. The Attorney General for the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, going to talk to us about the free speech SCOTUS Supreme Court case, but also the latest one that has to do with Joe Biden just handing out your money to forgive student loans again. Is he going to get away with it? We'll find out from the Attorney General when we come back.
You pushed my buttons, made me wild. I couldn't
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Point Pest Control. It's Point with an E. PointPestControl.com. When you call Point Pest Control at 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, you're going to get my people. And when I say my people, they are the people who I had come to my house, take care of my spider problem. I hate spiders, but I know that everybody's not like the same about spiders, irrationally insane, which is what I am about spiders. But you don't want bugs in your house. You might be having the ants that are crawling in right now. You might have crickets that are super annoying when you get a cricket in your house. I'm the type of person who's like, I will find that cricket and I will get that cricket. If you have that issue, you call Point Pest Control, boom, they take care of the problem. It's not your problem anymore. And it lasts. I am telling you that they know how to get to the bottom of it so that you don't have to deal with that particular problem or any other problems along the way. Call Point Pest Control, have them treat your home, and sign up for their premier service. I pay for that myself on a quarterly basis. You should check it out as well. 636-798-0023. Mention the Annie Fry Show. You're going to get an extra 10% discount on the top of any specials that they have going on. 636-798-0023, pointpestcontrol.com.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
Visit MikeCarter.com to see Mike's interviews with all of Missouri's elected leaders.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains and the richest farmland around, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for a free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Never made it as a wise man.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling, and this is how you remind me. This is how
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the impacts of this. He and his administration, they're trying to buy votes. Let's just call it exactly what it is. That's what the student loan bailout is. Listen, 2/3 of the American people didn't even go to college. So you're asking 2/3 of the American people to pay for the loans of a third. And listen, I had student loans. I went to college. I was fortunate. I picked a major that was economically viable, so I was able to repay my loans. We have a lot of students who went to college. They went and had majors in fields that make it very hard to actually earn money in our economy. That is partly the fault of our colleges and universities. You got to stop putting kids in these majors when you know they're not going to be able to earn money in the real world. We got to stop that.
Congressman Donalds talking about the student loan crisis is something that I think many times Republicans and Democrats very aggressively can agree that there is a problem that exists and we depart dramatically on how to solve it. The way President Biden has chosen to, in his eyes, I guess, solve the problem of student loans is just to take your tax dollars and give it to kids so that they don't have to pay their loans back. Seems a little questionable to me, of course. Let's talk to the Attorney General, Andrew Bailey, about that, the Attorney General for the state of Missouri. Thank you for being with us today. It's good to have you back on the show, especially when you're fighting for taxpayers in the state of Missouri, but really the result will be across the country should you win.
Well, Annie, I appreciate you having me on and covering this important story and framing it so appropriately. Look, President Biden knows better. He tried to do this once before, and he only tried to do it after he failed the bill through Congress. Under our constitutional system, it's the Congress that has the power of the purse. Only Congress can appropriate money. But the president, through the flick of a pen, tried to redistribute almost $500 billion to saddle working Missouri families with Ivy League debt, and it would have cost Missouri taxpayers $44 million. So we filed suit. We took it all the way to the United States Supreme Court. We put a stop to it, and now he's back at it. Well, I tell you, this administration's attitude is they get to do whatever they want until someone tells them to stop. Yeah. Well, I'll keep telling them to stop, and we'll take them to court and hold the wrongdoers accountable. We're not going to let President Biden saddle working Missouri families with Ivy League debt in an unconstitutional redistribution of wealth.
Yeah, it is interesting that the party that is usually trying to take from the rich and at least in campaign years tell you they're going to give to the poor. They're taken from the everyday working people that are making the money and paying their taxes. And those who receive these the benefit of his promise are people who went to college, not even necessarily people who graduated college, but who went to college. It does not seem like an equitable way to redistribute wealth, but it does seem like a very advantaged position to put yourself in a campaign year to look like you're the person who's fighting for those folks that are frustrated and struggling paying back their student loans.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Make no mistake about it. This is President Biden trying to buy votes. He knows he's in trouble because he knows every policy position he's taken has made America worse off. People today are worse off than they were 4 years ago because President Biden took office. And as soon as we get President Trump back in office, we can make America great again. But until then, things are in really poor shape. And so he's got to buy votes. And as someone who paid for my college in blood, sweat, and tears and service to our nation in the United States Army, I take this one personally.
Right. Yeah, and you should. And people shouldn't be put on the hook for other people's decisions in this capacity. What is different about, the president has already lost trying to do this one time, and the timing of his student loan relief effort really predated the 2022 midterm elections just real nicely there from a political standpoint. What's he trying to do now that's different from what he tried to do before?
Well, he keeps trying to find new laws that he claims give him the authority to make this kind of redistribution of wealth. But again, they don't, and he knows better. That's why before he tried the first student loan debt cancellation program, and any small business owner or working family out there will realize there's no such thing as debt cancellation. Somebody's paying it off. But before he tried it the first time, he tried to get a bill through Congress and failed. And so then he used the American Heroes Act, and we put a stop to that. And we're going to do the same thing with the law that he's currently identified as his fount of legal authority. Because at the end of the day, what the United States Supreme Court said in the first case was that the Congress doesn't hide an elephant in a mouse hole. In other words, it's the major questions doctrine. It's the legal doctrine at issue here. And it's that if Congress wants to do something so enormous as redistribute that much money from working families to those who have Ivy League educations, then Congress has to be explicit. And the president is not going to be allowed to latch on to kind of vague language in the text of statutes and say, well, this is my authority.
We're speaking with Attorney General Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General for the state of Missouri. As you're talking about this, there's a phrase that keeps repeating in my brain, and it's Joe Biden going, "Give me the power." And it's when he's saying that his hands are completely tied on the southern border. There's nothing he can do until Congress passes the bill that's in front of the House. Forget H.R. 2 that's sitting in the Senate right now. Until the Republicans in the House pass the bill that is sitting in front of him, he just can't do anything about the southern border. He's helpless. He's hopeless. The power of the executive has nothing there. Although we know, in fact, that power does exist there. He's just choosing to not use it. And then it comes to the student loan crisis and trying to pay off other people's bills. There's not a law he's not willing to bend to try to make that politically advantageous effort for voters in an election year. Compare the two uses of the executive office that President Biden has chosen to engage in and chosen to put off.
Yeah, Annie, and I think that's a really brilliant analysis that you're offering there, and you're spot on again. Look, at the end of the day, President Biden perverts the law to achieve his radical policy objectives that he can't get through Congress, and then ignores the laws he doesn't like. So let's look at the southern border. He has perverted the parole process, which is intended to allow for individualized determinations of parole. When you have an instance like when somebody's going to testify against the cartel, we'll let them in to be a witness at the trial, and then they're going right back home. But what President Biden has said is X number of individuals from Venezuela are going to be allowed under parole. Y number of individuals from Guatemala are allowed in under parole. Well, that perverts the law and creates a visa program that Congress never authorized. But then he ignores law at the border. In fiscal year 2020, Congress appropriated money and commanded the president to erect new border barrier systems, period. He has refused to do it. He's wasting your tax dollars on endless environmental studies instead of building the border wall like he's supposed to. So he ignored the law. So we took him to court on both issues. We have lawsuits against him on both issues, and we just won the border wall lawsuit. No longer is President Biden going to be able to vex, harass, and delay finishing Trump's border wall. He's got to build it. We now have a court order to prevent him from wasting our tax dollars. Missourians should be proud of the work we've done at the Missouri Attorney General's office, fighting back against Biden's border failures and stopping him from perverting the law and ignoring the laws he doesn't like.
Yeah, and we all know, and you know this very well as you have this with the Supreme Court, that the president, if people choose to dissent against where he's going with something or a policy or maybe just a lot of rumble out there that something is being discussed in a way he doesn't like, that this president does not pull back on trying to find avenues to quell speech that he does not appreciate. Tell us about your fight for free speech for Missourians and Americans alike.
And proud to do it. Again, this is the case Missouri v. Biden. All Missourians should be proud of this, that we took a stand to fight for free speech and end President Biden's vast censorship regime. We filed a lawsuit. We uncovered evidence that the Biden administration was targeting conservative speech for censorship on big tech social media platforms over a vast array of federal bureaucratic agencies. We took them to court back in May of 2023 after I'd been in office for 6 months and demanded a nationwide injunction. We obtained that injunction in July. We defended it at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and we're just at the United States Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago on this case. It's the most important First Amendment case in this nation's history. We're going to be successful because at the end of the day, the First Amendment is about creating a free, fair, and open marketplace of ideas. If President Biden doesn't like what we're saying, he can offer his own speech, but what he can't do is silence our voices. We're not going to let Joe Biden destroy free speech in America.
And Attorney General, have you ever seen in your investigation of what this administration or what the bureaucracy behind it has censored, does it ever censor people who have very leftist ideas?
No, 100% of the speech that was censored was conservative speech. And the federal government made the excuse that, oh, look, we've got to protect the public against misinformation, things that aren't true. Well, that's not their decision to make, first and foremost. That's why we have the First Amendment, to protect us from the government. But here's the other problem. Not only was it viewpoint discrimination, it was only conservative voices they silenced. All the speech they squelched was truthful. It was all truthful information. It's dripping with irony that the people who want to protect us from misinformation are actually spreading misinformation.
Yeah, it sure is. This is why we need people like you that are fighting back against it. Missouri has had a very, very good track record of pushing back against this administration, and we look forward to more of your success. Thanks for being with us today. It's good to have you back.
Hey, thanks, Annie. Always great to talk to you. All the best to you and your listeners.
You as well. The Attorney General for the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, with us here on the Annie Fry Show. All right, we're going to take a quick break. More Annie Fry Show around the corner. The YouTube live chat poll, are you prepared for disaster? Yes or no? And I'm talking like disaster. You let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. Let's see here. Kathy says, kind of prepared but needs improvement. Now you have a time to think about it and time to improve your preparation plan. Doc says, getting ready, so not exactly ready yet. That is a good, important first step. Let us know what you think. We'll discuss it when we come back. Don't go away.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I said I love you and I swear I still do. And it must have been so bad. 'Cause living with me must have damn near killed you. And this is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you remind me of what I really am.
All right. Have allergies plagued your household yet? Because they sure are invading ours. We've got a lot of allergies in our house. People in my house have allergies. It's just kind of part of the deal. But you want to make sure that the inside of your home is a safe haven for all of the pollen and the budding, blooming, everything that's beautiful outside. If you're a person who has allergies, you see that and it's just like, no, here it comes. Air Comfort Service is there to help you with that, to make sure that your comfort zone inside your house isn't just relegated to the temperature of your house, but also the air quality of your home. Call Air Comfort Service at 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091 and get a free estimate on a whole home air purifier. It will help you relieve or even eliminate allergy symptoms, pet dander, bacteria, viruses, odors that you might have in your house that you want to get rid of, and more. Air Comfort Service can help you with this whole home air purifier, along with making sure that your temperature control is where it's supposed to be, that your air conditioning unit is not running more than it needs to be, that it is cooling your home properly and evenly, and that the maintenance is up to date on your HVAC system. 314-513-0091. I'm a customer of Air Comfort Service myself, and I highly recommend them. You can check the Google reviews online if you want to check and verify, trust and verify my experience. Online at aircomfortservice.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings in priority booking by calling My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res. Look, they're professional carpet cleaners. They were in my home a very short time ago. They did the ductwork last year. We have offers for you here in St. Louis from a variety of perspectives. First and foremost, do you know that as many as 1 in 5 Americans suffer from allergies caused by particles found in the inside of their homes? Now, you don't want that to happen to you. Let's clean the ductwork out. And right now, during the month of April, from my friends at Zero Res, you get $50 off. If you need the carpets cleaned, maybe you need everything cleaned, they're going to take great care of you. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned professionally with great crews and the legendary 30-day Gotta Love It guarantee starting at $129. So 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $129. $50 off the air duct cleaning right now during the month of April. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean air. Zero Res is going to take great care of you. Call 314-474-2020 or online, ZeroResSTL.com. Tell me what the 97.1 FM Talk special. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/radio. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ziprecruiter.com/radio.
Our $79 garage door tune-up extended through April. Is your garage door old and whining for attention? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis will make it all better. They'll perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79, extended through April. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year, so why not now? And for just $79. Schedule now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Traffic law counselors is where we go when the police hassle us. Go to 45bucks.com.
This is Mike Carter, founder of 45bucks.com, or as you know it, Traffic Law Counselors. And right now, around tax time, we know folks are taking care of issues that they may have been putting off for a while. Maybe a driving while suspended or a warrant, things that you may have been worrying about for a little while. And we specialize in keeping folks' records clean. They come to us on a Monday, they can't drive, and by the end of that week on a Friday, we've got them back in the driver's seat driving legally. And that's very gratifying. And God forbid you're wrestling with something like a DWI. You can go to DWISTL.com. We've got 10 paralegals and attorneys that are working on those cases nonstop, and depositions, trials, hearings, and we can put that to work for you as well. In fact, it's the enduring success of Traffic Law Counselors that has enabled us to be the preeminent DWI attorneys in St. Louis at DWISTL.com. So now you know, if you have a traffic matter, it's 45bucks.com. If you've got a DWI issue, it's DWISTL.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Today's Annie Fry Show YouTube. We're having a good time here. Today's Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll.
Yeah, but it's a secret.
Where
you been? Hit your mark, Ryan.
I'm here. I'm here, and we're rolling. Are you prepared for a disaster? Not like this kind of disaster.
Our answer to that question is emphatically no.
No, we just make them. Are you prepared for a disaster? Yes or no? That's today's Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll. Let us know what you think. It is 1:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote.
It starts with one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard
This
you try.
is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal.
Man, there are a lot of 90s songs in today's playlist. Did you pick music or did Drew?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the 90s section of the... I pick a theme for each one.
For each one, what? Each day or
each segment?
Okay.
A each theme hour. for each For hour. Each hour, okay. yeah. Okay. Well, this morning I was in my office. I heard him go, "Leah's gone. Time for Lincoln Park." And I was like, "That's weird."
Yeah, yeah. Never made it as a wise man.
Couldn't cut it as a poor man's deal. I was like, "Oh no, Leah must be gone."
She'll be back tomorrow. What do you guys want to talk about?
Let's keep making fun of my music selections.
I'm not making fun of it. It's like you have, we're missing Creed. That's what we're missing.
Yes, we are. But Creed isn't in the music folder.
Oh, you bet
Is
your
it?
britches.
Oh,
If it isn't,
that's on me.
If it should be. Higher is one of my
It might be in there, but
lifetime
red.
favorite songs.
Mhm.
If it's not, it's because YouTube bounced us on it
Yeah,
once.
I'll have to look through the red songs. Anytime I am up on top of any sort of hill or building and the wind is blowing, I mean,
you can't.
I'm
as
gonna
high as it
sing.
gets.
Yeah, I'm gonna sing Creed for sure. You will find me on top of any building in the United States, especially St. Louis area, because I live here.
Is there a way to get on top of this building?
Yeah, there is. I can go up there and do
Only
that.
during bad weather.
Problem is, though, if you guys are like, oh, we should do a video on top of the building, I won't just do any video on top of that building. I got to have drone footage flying over me if I'm going to do Creed.
Do we have to get permits for that?
We might want to get building permission, but
No,
I
I'm
don't
not
think
really
we really
interested in
need
the
that
building.
either.
I'm interested in the law.
Nah, I don't think the law. I think the law would only be concerned if I fell and I.
It's not like they have anything else to do in St. Louis downtown.
I might take a couple days,
Is
but.
that a drone?
Oh, you're worried about the drone law.
That's what they're going after.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, isn't it St. Louis like trying to get drones to watch over everybody anyway? Isn't that something?
No, I think that's Joe Biden.
Nah.
Did you see this? I'm pulling it up right now. I wasn't intending to do this, but I'm gonna. I'm gonna read the Fox 2 report on it, fox2now.com. Community leaders are hoping to attract more retail businesses to downtown St. Louis through new incentives. Greater St. Louis Inc. and the St. Louis Development Corporation have partnered to provide $350,000 in incentives. The organizations hope to, quote, drive vibrancy and economic activity in downtown St. Louis. According to a news release, the current incentives package offers up to $15,000 per storefront that activates a downtown pop-up retail shop in a vacant storefront and up to $5,000 for restaurants per storefront. The package will also offer up to $50,000 in grants for new retail establishments to move forward with interior and exterior tenant improvements. Funding would also support property owners with a rent backstop to mitigate risks. This paragraph got me. According to the news release, SLDC is hopeful for new pop-up shops with handmade items, outdoor seating for restaurants, and major retail chains opening stores in downtown St. Louis. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to avoid sitting outside to eat in downtown St. Louis.
But you'd love the idea of handmade items.
Yes. Emphatically,
Was this
yes.
shipped from somewhere else? I'm not coming to downtown St. Louis.
I'm going to take all of Evelyn's art projects because I need to do something with them. And I'm going to sell them for top dollar and get $5,000 for the storefront. I think it's more if it's not a restaurant. Here's the deal. Great. Is it safe? Would you want to invest? Who are you selling to downtown? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? The customers or the shops?
That's a good question.
The customers leave first.
Yeah.
And then the shops. How do you get them back? Where do they go? Is it safe? Are they going to be able to stay open after dark?
Right.
I don't feel comfortable downtown, and I have to be here every day. How many people, you go get food every day.
Nah, close to it. Close to it.
You go to get food.
I don't want my wife to think that.
Okay, he does not go get food every day in his car at 11:15.
That's right.
And come back in with KFC or Domino's.
Leave that part in the
Papa
podcast,
John's.
dump the other part.
Do you only drive through? Do you go in? Do you get out? What do you do?
Mostly drive
What
through.
do you not do every day?
You know what I'm really doing is mostly I'm getting McDonald's because they have cheaper food in their app. So I'm going to get nuggets and hamburgers.
In the south side of North City?
No, right up the street here because
That would
it's
be the
just
south
close.
side of North City.
Yes.
Oh,
No.
you're still playing the no game.
Yeah. I thought
No.
that when you said yes, you meant no. We were doing that thing. No. Yes. No. Doggone it. Now you got me doing it.
You're the only one doing it.
I don't get out of my car a lot. When I do, it's to go into a random restaurant that's like a fast casual, but it's quick. It's all very, very quick.
Yeah, but you're still parking and getting out of your car.
I am.
I wouldn't do that.
Which is not, but I don't do that very often. It's usually drive through.
Yeah, he doesn't do that very often.
Katie.
Do you ever go anywhere downtown?
Not anymore. When I first started at the station, I would get gas at that gas station down the road on Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
And then one morning I drove by and there was police tape out
And
around
a dead
it.
body.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I'm done. And what's funny about that is it's one of the questions I asked during the hiring process. Where's a good spot to get gas around here? Because I wanted that cheap
Illinois.
Missouri gas. And Steve's like, I think that one down the road is pretty safe. And then
I still go get gas there.
I've gotten to there, but I haven't gone back since that guy got shot.
But there was also a guy shot on Tucker at 10:30
Yes.
a.m. like right here. So you gotta still use Tucker.
I don't stop on that stoplight either. No, I'm kidding.
No,
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
That is a good point that you're bringing up, though, because one of the things, I didn't even think about it when you asked the question. One of the things that I think about whenever I pull in the parking lot of any fast food restaurant in this area is how many random people are just standing in the parking lot. And am I going to have to deal with them?
Yeah.
Because I don't know why they're there. I don't know whether they're asking for money. I don't know what they're doing. And it's something you have to think about every time you pull into a parking lot.
Is it different for a man and a woman who is unaccompanied? How would you feel about your wife?
I'm sure
like,
it is.
For me to go pull in a drive-through line downtown and be by myself with people lingering all over the parking lot, or to go get gas, which I do get gas downtown sometimes if I'm in need, like I don't have any other choices. But now I mean, I've been carjacked in St. Louis. It was 4:15 in the afternoon. I wasn't like running around the city at night being an idiot. I was coming home from work to Illinois, and it was 4:15, and I had my car stolen from me while I was pregnant. So, if you want to invest in the city, I'm for investing in the city. If you cannot throw money at the problem. You can't throw money at people and say, "Come put your business down here." People aren't going to come here and feel safe. You can't just throw money at law enforcement and just say, "Here's money," and then fix the problem. You have to have a plan, and you have to be able to communicate the plan to the consumers that you need to have come down to the businesses that you're willing to invest in. I'm all for a plan. I don't want to poo-poo the idea that they're investing immediately. I'm excited for it, but the only question I have is, okay, is it safe? If my family were coming downtown for dinner, no, I don't even like thinking about it. I don't like thinking about bringing my kids downtown St. Louis. And if we pay premium to park at a Cardinals game because we want to be exposed for the smallest amount of time.
Yeah, same thing. We went to a monster truck rally about a year ago, and it was like, well, I guess I'll pay $40 to park really close.
Yeah, because you're
that's
not
the only way I
walking
want
with
to do
your
it.
kids for blocks and blocks and blocks in downtown St. Louis. Keep investing, but what's the plan? We'll be right back.
Now is a great time to act on that big spring or summer project you're planning in the backyard with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mark Cox here. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, mention my name, and receive 20% off an installed outdoor project for the entire month of April. Take advantage of this. You're going to love Chesterfield Fence. They've been around 56 years under the same ownership, and it's the sign you have the very best because they take such pride in what they do. They encourage you to visit their showroom. It's in Chesterfield Valley off 109. They have beautiful displays down there of their fences, their decks, the different options you have with cedar or vinyl. They've also got their pergolas, their sunrooms, their screen rooms, and their patios. They also give you free in-home estimates and free project design. You can't beat that. They are a Better Business Bureau Torch Award winner. Call them at 636-532-4054 or visit them online at chesterfieldfence.com. Mark Cox here. Do you need to sell your home, but you need time to find your next home or to build that new construction home you've only been dreaming about? Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert, has a program for you. Gloria understands that those two issues keep would-be home sellers from moving into their dream home. So Gloria's developed her Sell and Stay program that allows you to sell, get your cash, and stay in the home for up to 12 months. Gloria's Sell and Stay program takes the pressure off. It gives you time to find your next home. Plus, now that you have the cash from your current home, it gives you leverage when negotiating your next home. It's a great solution to help get some of our listeners unstuck and moving. If that sounds like you, call the one I trust at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
Visit MikeCarter.com to see Mike's interviews with all of Missouri's elected leaders.
Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. You know, as an attorney, I make my way across the great state of Missouri on a pretty regular basis. And from the rivers to the lakes and the Ozark Mountains and the richest farmland around, it's really just a pleasure to travel across the great state of Missouri. And, you know, not to mention, we have the best sports team and the best cities and the friendliest small towns in America, it seems like. And Carter Law Offices wants to make sure Missouri's story gets out far and wide about our excellent business climate, our exceptional workforce. You'll hear more from me soon, Mike Carter.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A tug of war between a prosecutor and the former president. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Manhattan District Attorney pushing back on former President Trump's efforts to stop his hush money-related trial in New York City.
The DA's office cites several reasons it disagrees with the former president's contention publicity has prejudiced any potential jury pool. One is that the level of coverage is unlikely to subside. The prosecution also says the jury selection process allows for an impartial jury to be picked. A third reason the DA's office says is by the former president's own doing, inviting attention through what it refers to in its filing as incessant rhetoric at rallies and on his social media platform.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Right now, that trial is scheduled to begin April 15th. President Biden continues to face protests over his Mideast policy, with one Palestinian-American doctor reportedly walking out of a meeting between the president and Arab and Muslim community leaders.
The president respects any American's right to peacefully protest, and we are going to continue to have these conversations, obviously, with that community.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre declining to detail a private conversation, but she says the president understands it's a painful moment for many Americans. In a statement on the airstrike that killed aid workers in Gaza, President Biden said Israel has not done enough to protect civilians. Tomorrow marks the 75th anniversary of NATO.
I cannot tell you exactly what the next crisis or the next conflict or next war will be.
The alliance's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg.
Regardless of what the next crisis will be, we will be safe as long as we stand together, North America and Europe in NATO.
At an event in Brussels, a statue was unveiled honoring President Harry Truman, who signed the NATO treaty in 1949. America is listening to Fox News.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-919-3200. That's 800-919-3200. 800-919-3200.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos, a better, easier way to get term life insurance, all online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Boy, oh boy, we almost have to check the calendar. It's not a very pretty afternoon. Very windy, wind gust to 45. It's chilly with wind-blown rain showers, 48 for the high. Tonight, showers early, otherwise mostly cloudy, 35. It stays windy. Thursday, opening day, clouds, some sunshine, still windy and chilly. 50 degrees on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Save money at Ruler Foods. When you shop, you just save money on basically everything. They have the brands that you count on. They have Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. They have extra savings every week on things like right now, Kroger ground beef sold in a 3-pound roll, $2.99 a pound. Heritage Farm boneless skinless chicken breast, $2.49 a pound. I think that's what my husband's cooking for tonight. He always does a crock pot thing, and I love it. Raspberries or blackberries in a 6-ounce package, 99 cents. When you go to Ruler Foods, you're going to save on the groceries that you put in your cart. And it is a experience when you go shopping at Ruler Foods. You might be familiar with shopping at other places. You put the quarter in the cart, you walk around the store, you bring your own bags, but you save the money. And that's what it's all about. I appreciate Ruler Foods for providing an opportunity for my family to save on groceries every single time we shop, including things like a 10 for 10 sale right now. Powerade 28 ounces, 10 for $10. Kroger Big K 2 liters, 10 for $10. Kroger Skillet Meals, 10 for $10. Kroger Microwave Pizzas, 10 for $10. Save at Ruler Foods. Find the local Ruler Foods closest to you by putting your zip code in at rulerfoods.com.
Hey homeowners, it's time to transform your house into a masterpiece with Lakeside Renovation and Design, your James Hardie siding experts. Picture this, durable, weather-resistant siding that doesn't just protect, but elevates your home's value and curb appeal. James Hardie, the gold standard in siding, installed by the pros at Lakeside. Say goodbye to maintenance headaches and hello to a home that stands the test of time. Ready for a siding upgrade? Lakeside Renovation and Design is your go-to. Visit our showroom or call today. Unleash the potential of your home with James Hardie Siding.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash that you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with the TrueHold Sell and Stay Leaseback program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage available at Navage.com.
Don't miss the Mark Cox Morning Show's Spring Bourbon Fling at Clayton Wine House. Join me and Kim April 18th from 5:30 to 8. We'll sample Proof and Wood, RD1, Four Roses, and more. Get your tickets now before they're gone at 971talk.com/events.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us, that's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. The YouTube live chat poll for today: are you prepared for disaster? Yes or no? We talk about this every once in a while in a prepping kind of a way, but there's a lot of different ways that you can prepare for a disaster, and I think that people in a political world, we're often talking about wars or the type of fallout, so to speak, no pun intended, that can come from global wars. But there's also, we're in springtime. Have you guys had tornado? You had weather. Were you awake the other night?
No, I had fallen asleep and I slept through the whole thing.
Because that was more towards you.
Yeah, it was loud. I remember about 11 o'clock it sounded like it was raining pretty hard outside and that the wind was blowing pretty good.
Do you sleep right through that stuff, Ryan?
If I don't know it's coming, then yes. If I do, then everybody in my house makes me stay awake long enough to protect them, which is fine. I'll accept that role.
It's cute.
It is kind of cute. Although when I'm tired, it's less cute.
You're like, get outside and deal with it yourself.
Yeah, why don't you go sit in the lawn chair and figure it out?
Do you have weather radios?
We do.
So how does that thing not wake you up?
It does.
Okay, because they're obnoxious. They're supposed to be.
Yeah. The problem is they go off when it's not anything near us, and so it drives me crazy because you hear it. It becomes a little bit like Boy Who Cried Wolf. You hear it enough.
Can't you set it?
Yeah, I think you can set it to an extent, but I don't think you can you can't hone it in on your house. So you can get it close, but there's a lot of times where it's like, watch for something. You're like, it's not even there yet.
I think there's a whole market that is opened up for people. You know how, like, on your GPS, you can have, like, Gilbert Gottfried read you where to go.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in there for me. You should do that for people. You should do alerts.
Okay.
Lend your talents and your voice so that there's something coming in and they hear,
Yeah. Is this a watch or a warning? It's one of those things you really got to pay attention to because they'll trick you every single time.
You never get.
Who are these people?
You never get to the point.
Yeah.
You just keep rambling.
But anyway, there is one near you.
Yeah, probably.
Right. We don't know.
Do you have a weather radio?
No, I don't.
Why, Brad? That surprises me.
Why does that surprise you?
Because you are more prepared than
I
more
have
people.
I have apps, so I don't have like a physical weather radio. So I guess if
You need a weather radio.
I was to say if the cell phone tower gets knocked out, I'm hosed. But
You need a weather radio.
I don't have a weather radio.
You ever thought about what would happen if, like, a disaster went down while we're on the air?
No. I always think
What
about
if-
when I'm at home. I never think about it here.
What if it was up to us? We were the ones who got stuck here because nobody else out there is staying.
Yeah, War of the Worlds happens and we're on.
And we're like, up next on Wiggins America.
I'd be like, oh no, you're bumping me for aliens? Are you kidding me? I'm probably talking about aliens anyway. But the theoretical possibility, and then we're looking outside like, wait a minute,
We
that
won't
looks like
know.
a real flying saucer.
we close the blinds every day. We
Yeah.
won't know.
You know
Somebody
what's-
will have to come tell us.
Here's what's
hey,
great
world's ending.
about living in the middle of the country. If, other than an earthquake, we're probably not the first to find out. Most of the things are going to happen on the coast.
Why?
Because attacks are going to happen on the coast.
You're talking about non-national.
I'm not talking about natural disasters so much.
I remind you, I'll show you one Chinese balloon that trajected the entire country and flew right over here.
Like, here's the thing. Do you just stop and think about it. They let that fly over the country. They could have put a nuclear bomb on that. Hit it inside the thing. It flew over the entire country. Nobody thought it was anything. And then when it floated over, right, say St. Louis, boop.
I will question the idea that they would do that and we wouldn't know about it, but it would have also flown over the coast first. So, point proven.
Well, they didn't realize it was in the air until it got to Montana.
Yeah. I think.
No, that's not true. They knew. They saw. That's not actually true. They watched it take off, and it got to Montana before non-government people discovered it and outed it, which is worse.
Yeah.
But there's not. I mean, if they're trying, what would the nefarious activity be? Is it to cause the most human death? Is it to disrupt the most systems? Are we to expect that they'd only want to strike in one place? If they can get a balloon over the middle of the country that goes coast to coast while they're watching it.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, even natural disasters, we're not going to hit by a tsunami. If they do an EMP attack, I'm thinking they're probably going after bigger targets, although that could cover a pretty big area.
Well,
I would think they would hit population targets like the coast
But here's
more than us.
Here's the thing about an EMP attack. You don't have to hit the target you're trying to affect. You hit the power grid, and that shuts everything off. And, like, if you hit the right spot, you're talking a third of the country. So, it could be they're targeting the East Coast, but we're caught in collateral because it's that much of the power grid.
Are you prepared for a disaster, Ryan?
Yeah, I think so. When we talk about these disasters, and I think about anything from global terrorism to aliens.
I don't mean mentally. I mean, like...
Oh, physically. No. no, I think
mean,
I
like...
am. I really do think I am because I don't necessarily prep the same way a prepper preps. But I have enough cash to get me through a few days.
Cash doesn't mean anything.
We have, it does if you can't use credit cards, it does for a few days. And then past that, we've got food to last long enough. We've got some water. Past a week, though, I don't really know what to do anyway, so I don't really know what I have. Like, if
that is a no.
If this is total social collapse, then no.
Yeah.
But if it's enough to get me through a week, I think we're fine.
It sounds like you are prepared for an earthquake or a tornado or an ice storm, the second and third of which I have experienced in my lifetime, where power has been disrupted for maybe 2 days. Maybe 4 days, that you would last that long, but you are not prepared nor interested in preparing for however you describe the second one.
Well, the second one is where I start looking for you guys. Hey, I've heard that you guys are ready. Can we come over and maybe just like bring some firewood?
I have firewood.
Well, then my pitch would be a little different.
Yeah, bring your cash.
I'll bring my gold doubloons.
Actually,
who's laughing?
Bring your cash and any other paper that you actually might have, and then we'll use it for fire kindling. What about you, Brad?
I'm fairly prepared. Like, I've got some stuff in my backpack in the studio right now for like an emergency. I've got bug out bags and stuff like that close by, and then. But I think where my real concern comes in is whenever my medication runs out. I'm good to go for how much medication that I have at any given moment. Is it for your
heart?
Yeah. And the thing about it is you can't like overstock on it. It's controlled. And so
do you want to explain like do you mind talking about what kind of medication you're talking
about?
about?
Yeah, I can talk about it. I take one. It's called an isosorbide mononitrate, I believe is what it is. And basically what that is it's an artery dilator.
Mm-hmm.
It expands your arteries so it keeps them open so the blood flows through them freely. When I had the last heart attack, so all of my heart attacks have been the same spot in my heart. And there was a blockage, and then they couldn't do anything with it, so they gave me an isosorbide mononitrate because they couldn't get a stent in. Then they put a stent in after the second one because that blockage managed to open up, and they could get a stent in, so they put that in. The last one, that stent had gotten scar tissue and calcification, and it has blocked over again. So now I'm back on the isosorbide mononitrate, which means my heart still has that blockage in it. When that runs out, I don't know if it'll matter or not. I don't know what happens at the end of that.
Because your body is adapting because you're a much healthier person now than when the initial one set
in. When that initial one set in, because they couldn't do it, what they told me is I would have arteries that would grow in around and basically almost do an natural bypass.
Huh.
So those arteries were there. And so whenever when they put that stent in, I felt like Superman because I had like the original plus the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel back like not Superman anymore. But so those things, the other things, statins, I'm not too worried about the statins. I mean, getting food is going to be the issue whenever that runs out. And then I've got a beta blocker that keeps my heart rate down and eliminates something they call bigeminy and triplets. It's extra beats of my heart. The concern was that I would have ventricle tachycardia, VTAC, which is what you need and then that'll turn into ventricle fibrillation, I believe. That's what the defibrillator does.
Okay.
It shocks your heart. So basically what happens is your ventricles, the lower things on your heart, start beating so fast that they quiver and they don't actually move blood.
Okay.
So that's whenever they find somebody that passed away in their yard from a heart attack when they were mowing the grass or whatever, 9 times out of 10, that's what happens to them. But you have a defibrillator, it shocks it, and it paces you back out of that and makes your heart beat at a regular rhythm, and your heart will catch up.
Okay.
So I've got a beta blocker that I'm taking that's supposed to help lower the risk of that. Those are the two main ones that I'm most concerned with.
Do you get 90-day supplies?
No.
I wonder if you can.
I don't know. I should check into that.
Just for the sake of having
I mean,
90-day
my
supply.
doctors are pretty good about, like, do you need, like, every time I go in, do you need refills? How are you doing on refills? Blah, blah, blah. So I could probably
the answer
have a
needs to be yes, I need refills.
Yeah. But the other side of it is like that isosorbide mononitrate, it has a shelf life. I don't know that it'll keep for longer than a month. Light is bad for it and stuff like that. So I keep it in a
bag?
No, it's in a, this is going to sound really weird. The A-10 aircraft has a 30 millimeter cannon on the front, and I got an old shell from it, and I drop it down in there, and that's what keeps the light out. So,
Still, you only bring it out at night and during the eclipse.
Well, no.
But real fast.
Yeah.
I think that medication is one of those things that people may not think about. Because when you're preparing for a disaster, you have to ask yourself, what kind of disaster am I preparing for? It's different to prepare for, to make sure that you're 48 days or 48 hours out of being comfortable with food, that you get to go on and not have to leave your house. Power lines are down if it's catastrophic or whatever. If your house gets taken away in a tornado, then there's not really much you can do about that. That just is what it is. I went with my husband and our church at the time to help clean up in Joplin right after the F5 tornado hit there. And that was just dramatically impacted my perspective on Mother Nature and what Mother Nature is capable of. And really an understanding as well that there's like so much you can do and then the rest is up to God. But in Joplin, there were not a lot of houses that we were cleaning up and around that had basements. So for as far as the eye could see, completely just like this tornado sat on it, churned on it, picked everything up, relocated stuff everywhere. And there was just foundation after foundation. In some foundations, it's like the eerie part of going through, you go through some areas and the foundation would be there and the walls would be gone, but the fridge would be sitting in the kitchen.
That's so weird.
And you might have like one area where there was a closet that didn't get pulled out of the middle or whatever, which is why they tell you to go to like the most interior low in a tornado situation. But you can prepare for stuff like that. But then there are other things that you're not going to be able to prepare for. In a much larger and, conspiratorial hypothetical situation when you're talking about EMPs. And I've read the book 1 second after. Usually when I'm talking about this, people are like, oh, Annie, you need to read this. I've read it twice. And it's talking about what would happen in EMP. And I think that's in the Appalachian Mountains. Is it West Virginia? I don't know. But it happens kind of in a mountainous area, more towards the East Coast. And they talk about how when the EMP hits Florida, there's so much weather that goes on in Florida that if you were to experience the complete and total lack of electricity and all the systems as you know it go out, then when natural events end up occurring, your ability to absorb those and react to those, that all dissipates. So after time, that becomes a problem. And I remember in the book, it talks about the Midwest being one of the best places you could be in the event that you had to be self-sustaining, but it would still be, you'd still have to be prepared. You'd still have to have taken certain measures to withstand the challenges that would arise. Let us know if you're prepared. We have that up as the YouTube live chat poll. Are you prepared for a disaster? Yes or no? GWIB says not prepared well enough, but better than most. And I think that a lot of people who are very prepared never say, I'm completely prepared. You can always do more to prepare. Let's see. Amy says, no, I'll be the first to go in a zombie apocalypse. Need more anti-prepper podcasts. Stay tuned, Amy. That should be coming back shortly, I hope. Scooter says, I'm prepared for likely disasters, not unlikely disasters. Which, you got to start somewhere. And if you're thinking about, do you guys remember the ice storm in 2006?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
That, I think, is the most impactful. Like, there was some longevity to the disruption that presented, being cold and the effect that the ice had on power lines in so many different places. That is something that I can really think back to, like, how would I insulate my family from that experience? Mike says, depending on the disaster, one needs to decide if you, quote, Alamo, where you are, or bug out to an undisclosed location and defend from there. And those are generally decisions that you need to be thinking about ahead of time. If you were in location A, B, or C, like, what would I do if I were there? Where would I go? How would I get there? And when that event occurs, you need to make that decision pretty quickly, because time is, like, if you think about downtown St. Louis, if there was no law and order down here, and that was, like, as soon as that's evident, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Time to get out.
Yeah, man. There's so many scenarios that it's hard to narrow down which one it would be, which is why it's a good question.
Well, you can't narrow down. You got to prepare for all of them.
Yeah,
to
are
some
you
extent.
prepared for disaster?
Right.
Is just a broad sort of, can you be prepared
One
for
of
everything?
the most effective things that you can do is learn the skills that you would need to use once the food runs out. You
Yeah.
need to learn how to make a fire with all that sort of stuff. You need to learn how to maybe even fish. If you're not a hunter, there's fish in the water.
I need to learn how to eat fish.
Yes, you do.
Well, when you're hungry.
And rice, because it's going to be raw.
I can eat rice. Why would it be raw?
Because it's going to be sushi, because you're not going to be cooking it, because you're going to be so famished that a fish, you're just going to cut it and just start eating it.
So you're saying, in light of a disaster, I'm going to be presented with sushi? Like Ryan said, he's completely prepared. We'll be right back.
I'd like to see them spend a week living life out on the street. I don't think they would survive.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
They could spend a day or two.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
The Diamond Shop, online at thediamondshop.net. Celebrate April and spring with some beautiful things from the Diamond Shop. 40% off all color stone jewelry. 40%. And an extra 10% off when you go to the website right now, like I said, thediamondshop.net. Sign up to be a VIP, and you're going to get to have an additional 10% saved. That's fantastic. They also have 30% off all in-stock jewelry. Celebrate spring. Mother's Day is right around the corner at the Diamond Shop. They are reliable. They have been around since 1910. They've been located in Clayton, serving people just like you, generationally so, because people know that you can trust the folks at the Diamond Shop. They are good people, and they are absolutely the best at what they do. They have longevity that speaks for itself, and they're trustworthy with how much knowledge and experience they have that they can impart on you when you go there to buy something special for yourself or somebody you love. Save this spring, this April, on in-stock jewelry 30%, color stone jewelry 40%, and add an extra 10% to that with the VIP experience when you sign up online. Visit thediamondshop.net.
Baseball is back, basketball is heating up, and the NFL Draft is right around the corner. Listen to the latest on the teams you love with the free Odyssey app. The biggest sports radio stations in the country, providing unrivaled local coverage of their teams, all in one place. Exclusive interviews with players, coaches, and team executives, streaming live and always available on demand. Stay in the know with your favorite teams with Odyssey. AUDACY. Download the free Odyssey app today.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Come check out our new LaSalle display and our final phase of Inverness at Bryan and Feisey Road in Dardenne Prairie. We will build to order or select from one of our designer market homes ready to move in at substantial savings, including our luxurious former display home. This professionally decorated ranch is loaded with features features and has over $100,000 in savings. Plus, get special financing starting in the 4s. Hurry to take advantage of these deals. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
When the radio is away, 97.1 can still play. If you have the Odyssey app, of course. Listen to any of your favorite hosts on 97.1 through your phone. On St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Watch the LSU Iowa girls basketball game?
No, but apparently I was among the minority.
I caught maybe the last 10 minutes of it.
Intentionally or accidentally?
No, I got home and I was like, ooh, it's on, and I turned it on.
So should you had been home and
I
free,
might,
you
yeah,
probably would have watched more?
I would have turned it on.
How much of the men's tournament have you watched, Ryan?
Well, I was out of the country this year, so not much. But I actually still was paying attention. I wake up in the middle of the night and check the scores as often as I could because I'm pretty interested in it.
So did you watch any of it?
No.
What about you, Brad?
I watched Illinois get thumped by UConn. I turned it on at half, so that one's my bad, guys.
They were doing okay.
They
in
were
the
doing,
first half.
yeah, and then the second half, they didn't score for like the first 10 minutes or something like that.
I think was it? He had 4 points, something like that. It was bad.
It was bad. And then I watched the Iowa. Who did they play? Iowa and I don't know, whoever they played. I watched Edie beat up on those guys.
I watched. We the whole family sat down and watched the Iowa LSU game. Now, if you listen to the show much, you know that I help my husband coach girls basketball. My oldest daughter plays basketball. She's 11, and she plays for her school and is playing on an extra team here right now. I don't know 100% sure what is going to materialize from that, but she's expanding her basketball interests. And I played basketball through my senior year of high school. I think we finished like 10 and 15. I was an important part of the team. We weren't a great team, but we had a ton of fun. Basketball was super important to me. And in the late 90s and the early 2000s, as a girl basketball player, I knew that I wasn't playing basketball for other people. There was no like show up to put on your school uniform to hear the crowd go wild. We had at our school students who would come support us, but it's not like going to the boys' basketball game. And there were two, like I had one other senior who played with me. So we were a younger team, but you play and you don't play for other people. You play for the experience. You play because you love it. You play to compete, but you don't have this understanding and expectation that the gym's going to be packed and people are going to be cheering. And, you know, I went to the boys' games and I was part of the student section and I did the things that you do at a basketball game to cheer the boys' team on that nobody came to the girls' game. And did that bother me? Probably not, because it's just the way it was. It was cool when people would show up and support you, but most of the time the fans and the stands had family in it. And, you know, maybe if for some reason they had the band play that night, then the band and their fans were sitting in the student section. But girls basketball, probably prior to last year, if there was anything mentioned on social media for girls basketball from ESPN, from SportsCenter, from any of these outlets where they would do something to showcase girls basketball, it was only ever mocked, and the comments were just full of people talking about making sandwiches and being in the kitchen. I mean, it's like almost a meme in and of itself that you post something about girls basketball and then the people in the comments talk about how it's not basketball or how it's boring and how these girls would be better off making sandwiches. I mean, that sounds so crass, and it is crass, but it's the internet. So it's like, shocker. Like that's not the
it's the bathroom wall.
It's not the only place where people are making sexist and ignorant comments. But I also am not of the mind that if you watch a girls' basketball game and a boys' basketball game, that you're watching the same content. It's different. Why? Because men and women are different. I wish that we could have the conversation about the differences that do absolutely exist between men and women. Acknowledge the difference. Acknowledge that there might be a different and at times, most times, more exciting draw to, let's say, men's basketball in pace, speed, strength that men have that women don't. I wish that we would get away from the idea that postmodern feminism has tried to force upon people, which is a lie, that men and women are the same, because they aren't. When you fight on the battlefield of men and women being the same, and everybody, even the people who are kind of trying to hawk what that individual would be selling, to say, oh, they're the same. Anything a man can do, a woman can do. We know that's not true, and I sure as heck know that men can't do everything women can do. Watching Caitlin Clark in Iowa and Angel Reese at LSU draw people in to the tune of 12.3 million viewers to watch a college girls basketball game. We watched that game front to back. There were no dunks. It was all girls basketball. It looks different than boys basketball. I'm very familiar with it as somebody who played it and someone who's watching it as a mom and as a coach. It is different than boys basketball, but there are things about it that are entertaining if you want to be entertained by it. If you tune into girls basketball for the sake of being like, I am going to watch this game to prove that I'm right that they should be making men's sandwiches. Pound sand. Go by. Oh. I don't want to be around you. You are a Neanderthal. And like, if you needed to tune in to see that, to verify that you were right, in your mind, you were right before you got there. So just go on with your day. Caitlin Clark is unbelievable in her basketball abilities. And there's this part about her and all of the hype that's around Caitlin Clark that I'm a little apprehensive about, because we live in a cultural time right now where we're like over celebrating things that people are doing because of the gender part of it. The idea that like, oh, a girl is doing good things on the basketball court, let's overemphasize it so that we can prove that girls are as good as boys.
Oh, I hear you. It's a very good point.
That's not Caitlin Clark. She's freaking amazing. Her ability on the basketball floor is amazing, regardless of the fact that she's a female. She is taking a ball, a girl's ball, 28.5, girl's ball, and she is shooting it from outlandish areas on the basketball court. And she's scoring 40 points a game. That is to be celebrated. And it's not to be celebrated because she's doing that. Oh, and she's doing that even as a girl. Like, no, it's freaking awesome. I would put her up against, from a pig shooting contest, I would like to see her shoot against male NBA players and just see what happens. But at the end of it, if the NBA players were shooting from the outrageous places that she's shooting on the court and they won, it doesn't make her less impressive. And in a world where everything is surrounding gender, it actually takes away from what Caitlin Clark is capable of doing. There is an enormous amount of hate that exists out there for Angel Reese and LSU. They're easy to dislike. Angel Reese last year, LSU beats the Iowa Hawkeyes and Caitlin Clark in the championship game, and she did the "you can't see me" thing, and she points at the ring finger because LSU won. Angel Reese is making decisions when she does that. When men do that stuff, it's part of the entertainment. When men get catty with each other, especially like if you're thinking about in the NBA, they do that crap to each other all the time. And if they didn't, if in the NBA, all these men were all like, "Oh man, that was a great job. You really worked hard today. I know you lost, but high five, hug it out, bro." If that was all it ever was, please. In baseball, when somebody freaking Muncy from the Dodgers goes and hits a dang 2-run home run and he goes backwards to first base, that's just what happens. He did it in front of the home crowd. He brought him back, and then they beat us. And I mean, like, I hate it when he does that. But I'm not, like, thinking about him being a man while he's doing that. He's a competitor. It was a really big moment. There's an entertainment level to it. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of eyes watching this game, and that's how he handles it. And when people act like that, they know that some people love to see it and other people hate and can't stop watching. It's part of the entertainment. I didn't like Angel Reese made me not like her because of what she did.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark wins in the Elite Eight against LSU, and everybody tuned in to see what happens. And I mean, like, if you're not like an Iowa Hawkeye fan, Kate Martin, nobody's talking about this around here. Kate Martin graduated from Edwardsville High School, and she scored 20 points in that game. Great game. Caitlin freaking Clark is scoring 40 from the other side of the floor, and everyone's talking about Caitlin Clark, and that doesn't matter. But, I mean, there are good basketball players on this team competing against good basketball players on LSU's team. It is funny to me. I'm not interested in changing people's hearts and minds on this because I know that I can't, and it would be fruitless. But as an observer of girls basketball for my almost entire observant life, people cannot believe how these girls treat each other on the basketball floor. It is the meanest place you can be.
Yeah,
they are physical. They are mean to one another. They talk crap to one another. But so do boys. So do guys. But people are paying attention to girls basketball for the first time, and they're like, "Oh, Brad, you've watched my daughter's basketball games. Have you seen how my daughter has been treated on the floor?
Yes.
And have you seen how my daughter has reacted on the floor?
Yes, I've seen it all.
She gives and she gets?
Yes, she gives and she gets. I'm going to disagree, though. I'm going to say girls are meaner to one another on the court than boys are.
I think so.
I can guarantee that because this is going to sound bad, but I think there's a less likelihood of a fist fight and an all-out brawl breaking out in a girls' athletic thing. But I've watched girls' soccer. I've watched girls' basketball. The hair pulling, the trips, the everything that goes on. It's like, whoa, that doesn't happen in a guy's game. Not because guys don't have long enough hair. It's just there's like an unwritten rule. You don't do that because then we're going to fight, and one of us is leaving on a stretcher.
What happens in a girls' basketball game? There are emotions that are high, but you can't tell me emotions aren't high when men play.
They are high.
They are high. But shockingly, newsflash, men and women handle emotions differently, but they both have them, and they're both peak competitors and peak performers. So the emotion is part of it, and it's just funny to me. Like I said, I don't care about changing anybody's opinion on girls basketball. I'm not advocating for you to all of a sudden become a big girls basketball fan. I am not going to watch the WNBA unless Caitlin Clark makes it interesting to me. I don't see that happening. I don't have that much time in my life to work that in. But the fact that people are watching girls basketball, and what I feel like they're doing right now with a level of interest that they have not done before, is they're watching girls basketball for what girls basketball is. Not comparative to men.
Right.
And that's the way it should have always been. And when you've got morons on the internet who are like, "Oh, make me a sandwich." Apparently, you be sitting on your couch eating a lot of sandwiches, making comments about women who are out doing things and playing things while you are worried about where your next meal comes from and it has to be provided to you by someone else. Okay, beta. When you are watching girls play basketball and they're playing at the highest levels that girls play basketball, it's competitive. It's kind of fun to watch if you want to commit, if you like the game of basketball. It looks different than men's basketball. It's never going to look like men's basketball. And that is okay. And in order to admit that, you would have to walk in with the foundational understanding that men and women are biologically different. And if you can't admit that, then you're never, ever going to appreciate exactly what it is that girls have the opportunity to do in sports that is being taken away from them by men who are injecting themselves into it. I want to real quick, I talked about this a while ago when one of these issues of men and women crossing over was a key part of the story. But South Carolina's women's basketball team, this is with Outkick. South Carolina women's basketball team entered the Sweet 16 undefeated and as huge favorites against the number 4 Indiana Hoosiers. Dawn Staley and her number 1 seeded team in the Albany Regional got a much bigger fight than they probably expected, but they survived and advanced. The only goal this time of year and defeated Indiana 79-75 on Friday night. The key story here that people aren't talking about the way they should be in the context of something larger than just women's March Madness and something that we've talked about on this show before. Do you know how the University of South Carolina prepares their team? They play against men at practice. From this Outkick article, Staley addressed the media on Saturday morning in Albany and made some interesting comments about what has helped prepare her team and put them in a place to win all 34 games they've played this season. One of the biggest factors, practicing against men. Coach said, I have to credit our male practice squad, the Highlighters. The Highlighters are really, really, really good. Although a lot of times they beat us in practice, a lot of times they beat us, so it makes it easier when we're able to just come out and play our competition because the Highlighters, no matter what the speed of our opponents is, they're much quicker. South Carolina is undefeated. In order to make themselves better, they play against a practice squad of men. And it has made them a better team. And they are out there willing to admit it without feeling any sense of inferiority. Why? Because they are superior among all of the opponents that they play during the season. And it's to be championed. These women should be celebrated for what they are doing, how they are preparing, and how they are competing, and how they are succeeding. And it is impossible to celebrate these women the way they should be celebrated if you're always comparing them to men. Caitlin Clark in Iowa and Angel Reese in LSU convinced 12.3 million viewers to tune in. More than the 2023 NBA Finals, World Series, Orange Bowl, Big Ten Championship, Cotton Bowl, Pac-12 Championship, Big 12 Championship, ACC Championship, Peach Bowl, Thursday Night Football, and every 2023 college football regular season game except Ohio State versus Michigan. That game beat all of those events. And people were able to appreciate it in the context of what it was. And people liked it. This is why women and men should be separate on a sports field, court, whatever it might be, and celebrated for who they actually are. And I think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I'm throwing her in there. I don't hate her the way everybody else hates her. I think they should be celebrated. Seems like they are. She's making bank.
This is great for women's basketball. This is a change point. That game, I mean, beating out all of those different other sports in viewership is.
Control, point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com. When you call 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, make sure you reclaim your home from these unwanted pests that creepy crawl into your house. It's gross. Ugh. Spiders, my least favorite. That's who they came out, or what they came out, not who. I'm going to give them names. They came out to treat the spiders that were in my house. We had 2 wolf spiders that we saw in the matter of, 5 minutes Lord even knows how many were actually in my house in total. And Point Pest Control came out, took care of the problem. Haven't seen one since last fall. These people are amazing. They're my favorite. And if you have a pest problem in your house, or if you want to ensure that you don't incur one, you need Point Pest Control to take care of the business for you. I am an incredibly satisfied customer myself. I am a subscriber to their Premier Service Plan, and I encourage you to get that as well. I think it's a quarterly visit to make sure that they stay up on the pest control within your home. And they've told me, if you see a bug, call us. They'll take care of it. And I am absolutely going to do that. I just haven't had to yet because there are no bugs. It's amazing. 636-798-0023. It's Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Guys, you know summer is just around the corner. Get yourself in shape now. Let my friends at Victory Men's Health help you. Mark Cox here. You know Victory is offering semaglutide, approved by the FDA for overweight adults. It's a game changer. On average, people are losing up to 15% of their body weight. Be sure and visit my friends at Victory Men's Health in Wing Haven, their newest location in Sunset Hills. They're also in Town and Country and in O'Fallon, Illinois. Go online today. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
If you're looking for a senior living community, check out Hampton Manor of Wentzville. Mark Cox here. I just had an opportunity to visit Hampton Manor the other day. And again, what a beautiful spot it is. A brand new building, just had their grand opening. If you take a tour at Hampton Manor, they're going to treat you to lunch, courtesy of their private chef, Chef Scott, and the food out there is absolutely outstanding. It's convenient. Take Interstate 70 to the Lake St. Louis exit. It's about a quarter mile north. Schedule online today at WentzvilleAssistedLiving.com.
All right. Are you prepared for a disaster? That's the poll question today. It's a simple yes or no, but of course, there's a lot of nuance to that question. So let us know why you're saying what you're saying. Are you prepared for a disaster? It's the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. We'll give you the results here in just a couple of minutes because it is 2:52. Closing in on 3 o'clock. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. I would personally like to thank Jon Stewart and his entire team for gifting me my monologue this afternoon, and it's really good stuff on the media. We're going to get to it right after Fox News. Hang in there.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
I've been waiting to pick you up and take you from this place. Love on the weekend, love on the weekend.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Our YouTube live chat poll for today: are you prepared for disaster? Yes or no? Ryan, what I've gathered from you is that you're prepared for a immediate and short disaster.
Yes.
And you're panicking for the long one.
For the long one, I'm like, you know what? We're all in the same boat, so let's just get along. Let's try to make our street friends with each other.
So,
and no, I still say yes to the polo.
As soon as the disaster becomes a long one, you're a communist.
Well, I'm not.
That's exactly what he said. It's like, hey, can we have some of your stuff?
Communism, it's community.
That's what a communist would say.
Because we're not forcing each other to do it.
It's not
we're
communism.
Just sharing.
It's just each
We're
according to their
freely
ability
sharing.
to each according to their need.
Exactly.
Brad, 2 weeks into a gigantic disaster, how are people persuading people to do things?
Not with kindness.
No, with lead.
Well, but if I have something
Brad's
you
like,
need.
Just hear me out, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have a great barter system worked out. I don't know exactly what's going to be in need, but I got some stuff. You know,
love,
we got a shed.
Man. Love is all
yeah,
you need.
love is probably one of the things that'll be in high
Free
demand.
hugs.
Ryan, you can come be my jester.
And I definitely do not believe in free love, so there would be a high price to pay.
I think you're overestimating what you have to offer.
No kidding.
You know what? You just never know until you get there.
Also,
people get desperate.
I think you get 2 weeks into it. If people want it, they're probably going to take it.
Exactly. Yeah, we're all going to be pretty unshowered.
No,
so if I have
no,
water
what
and I'm clean.
Is what you have to offer is not going to be paid for.
Well, then I might have to rethink my strategy because by then I'm going to have a pretty serious neck beard.
Oh. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Brad, you prepared?
Yeah, I would say I'm a little prepared. I'm not all the way prepared, though.
Yeah, I would say I'm more prepared than most, but there's plenty of room for improvement. Let's get to the results here. Hey, Brad, do you want to read a couple of these comments that are still left here on the ones that we starred before we get to the results? Are you prepared to do that?
Yeah, sure. Jeff Fisher says, I'm not even prepared for dinner tonight.
Fair enough. Mike says, I voted yes. As prior military, I am prepared for most situations, but could always do more. Food, water, firearms, ammo are a must. Yeah, I think that those, what's the order you're supposed to procure? It's like heat, food, water,
yeah,
shelter are the things.
The most
not necessarily
immediate.
In that order.
Yeah.
Heat, water, shelter, food?
Yeah, because the elements will get you first before starvation or dehydration get you.
Yeah. Do you know what the elements are?
Rain? Is the rain going to get me?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm afraid of the rain.
Are you afraid of the rain when it's 40 degrees outside like it is right now?
I would be afraid of that.
Yes.
For the long term.
I should be.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of it in the springtime. Come on, winter. As the meme I keep seeing says, winter or spring, you're not even trying to fight back. Get with the program. Are you prepared for disaster? Folks, 58% of over 200 votes, 58% of you said no. But the good news is, at least for now, you still have time to make a decision, which, like you said, Brad, could even just be learning a skill. Doesn't even have to cost money. Stick around. Mark Gruden Show on 97.1 FM Talk in just a few minutes.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
We're entering remodeling season. If you've considered new windows, let me recommend my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here. Here's the great thing about Window World. Not just the preferred window of our hometown St. Louis Blues, they're now the official window of the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. So if you're considering replacement windows, this is the company you want to work with. I'm a satisfied customer. I've got 2 other windows in my master bathroom. We couldn't be happier with those. They have a lifetime warranty that covers all the parts, all the glass breakage and labor. There's a reason why in just over 20 years of business, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of 72,000 plus customers in the greater St. Louis area. A Window World is fantastic. The windows are so durable. Not only do they stand behind their windows, at the showroom, they actually stood on a window right in front of me. You're going to love it. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800 or windowworld.com.
At Odyssey, we help protect this planet we all share through our One Thing sustainability initiatives. We donate $1 million of media every year to local environmental nonprofit organizations. And this month, our Odyssey teams will be out in our local communities cleaning up, planting trees, and more. When we each do one thing, it becomes 100